All right, you guys ready?
No, I've been ready.
When you
Aaron,
talk,
you been ready?
when you talk, Drew, don't look at me. Fuck Roseanne, what up, what's happening everybody? My name is Charles Blades and this is the Current Game Podcast. I am joined by none other than Trophy Pops himself, Drew Scheffler. How's it going, buddy?
My internet could be better, but other than that, I'm surviving.
You're surviving. The magnanimous Aaron Weeks, how's it going?
Good, but I have yet to see The Good Place. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry,
Did you ever send me
I had
that
to help
stuff?
you out with your bit. Yeah, I sent it to you 3 times now.
Okay, well, you might want to send it a 4th because I don't know if I have it.
I'm gonna go as far as to do it right now.
Okay, you probably should.
He's
Cheyenne,
gonna come to your apartment and do it.
Cheyenne Clark, the Connect 4 queen.
That is me. Hello.
Yeah. I at first I said, what's a word that that's a female adjective with the letter C for Connect 4, and then I was gonna have the alliteration. And I said concubine. Doesn't mean what I thought it meant.
No.
No, so I
I'm
decided
What do
not
you think
to go
it
with
meant?
that.
Queen is good.
Said the
Thank
queen.
you.
And the person who bit Beyonce in the face, David Morgan. How's it going?
Who bit Beyonce in the face? It wasn't me.
Apparently, that's what
It
wasn't
Hannah
me.
was saying.
All right.
We got a good show for you, so we're gonna be talking about all kinds of stuff. Not that much news this week though. Not too much going on in the gaming sphere, as one would say. But there is some news. And the first big piece of news, and really the only big piece of news this week, I thought, really this could have been a quick hit. You want to get into the nitty gritty behind the scenes. All of these stories could have been quick hits, but I just wanted to put one in the news. So in the news segment, Sea of Thieves is selling well. Aaron, where's the story coming from?
It's from Xbox Wire with Craig Duncan.
Craig Duncan. He says to the Xbox fandom, the worldwide excitement for Sea of Thieves has made it the fastest selling first-party IP of this generation from Microsoft. Having witnessed more than 1 million players on launch day, our community continues to grow and is now more than 2 million players. Alongside this, Sea of Thieves is already the best-selling Microsoft Studios first-party title on Windows 10. More than 100,000 players have streamed Sea of Thieves since launch, us being one of them, resulting in more than 10 million hours watched in the last week. More than 500,000 new Xbox Live friends have been forged to date, over 400,000 players have joined the Xbox Club to find pirates to share their stories with. My reasoning for putting this behind the news thing is, number one, it's Sea of Thieves apparently doing well. Microsoft has struggled, to put it kindly, in the first party department this generation, so it's nice to see them get a hit. But the more thing I want to talk about is that they say they've witnessed more than 1 million players on launch, which means they're not saying the game has sold 1 million. They're witnessed more than one. And as we all know, this game is the first game to launch with the Xbox Game Pass. So I don't want to know kind of what you guys all thought about that. If someone wants to jump in.
Well, when they say that it is the best-selling Microsoft IP over the last year or whatever, right? How many have they really had? Like Gears, and then Halo. Like what? Like if you said
Halo
God of
Wars
War
2.
Yeah, but if you said that God of War was the best-selling Sony IP in the last year, that would be big news. But to say that something is Microsoft's best-selling IP is like compared to what exactly? Plus, I don't think this has got to be counting Game Passes, right? Like downloads from Game Pass.
One would assume,
I think
just the way they word it with 1 million players instead of
there's
like 1 million
no
sales.
fucking way that many people paid full price. And what I was saying, and you can quote me on this, is that on when did it release?
What
was
like
the
2
date?
weeks ago.
So it came out last? I don't know, but 14 days from its release, the player count's going to be gone, because that's when the Game Pass is up, and nobody's going to be fucking paying money to do the same 3 quests for no reason over and over again.
I think we'll get concrete evidence of that by the fact that when I was gathering the news this week, literally every story was Fortnite or Sea of Thieves. So like people are looking at these stories, so people are playing this game. Like that I won't say is true. So if in the next 2 weeks I'm not seeing all the Fortnite story or all the Sea of Thieves stories in the world, then I would think that that's true. But anybody else want to jump in on this topic?
Yeah, I was actually wondering, because the way that they say it, they do say something about, like, it's the best selling, but they don't say, like, we've sold this many we've seen this many players. Like,
Right.
I was like, most of the people were like, oh, hey, I can get this game for free by doing this 14-day trial for the Game Pass. Some of my friends are playing it. I'm going to try it out. People are streaming it. And then I also imagine the people that are playing it are not going to continue over a long period of time because their Game Pass is going to run out. They're not going to want to, there's nothing that they want to play, you know. But I do think that this is, you know, if people, the people that do genuinely like this game and want to keep playing it, like, I am very happy for them because they haven't really had a lot of games like this come out on the Xbox. So good for them. But yeah, not looking too good in keeping their players.
Yeah, I think that Rare's going to have to do something to retain those numbers. I think it was fun the first, like when we streamed it, it was fun. There was
For an hour.
For an hour, figuring things out, and yes, I realized we didn't discover everything or whatever, but like even the first
far
day,
from discovering it, we didn't discover all the basic mechanics, I feel like.
Yeah, but true. But I'm saying, like, to have people that played it the first day discover like the big, what was the big, like, oh, where's it gonna be, the Kraken?
Yeah, the Kraken.
The Kraken, and you have all these fucking people like running into it the first day, like, I don't know, that was kind of like the mystery was the Kraken and the trailer or whatever, and now it's kind of like, so what's next? You know, I think that's what they're going to struggle with is retaining the numbers, because you can keep some of those people from Games Pass, but you're only going to really be able to keep, you know, a majority of them if you add more content, and there's just not enough time. It's not like they have something come out in the next week or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
They actually had a planned update that was like unanimously shit on that they canceled because they were going to add like a cost to, what was it, to revive yourself after death or something like that?
Yeah, you were gonna. So when you die, you go to this like ghost pirate ship in like Davy Jones' locker or something like that.
Yeah.
And like now, there's no penalty for dying, and they were gonna add a.
There needs to be some kind of penalty because PvP feels so fucking like toothless and like pointless right now. It's.
I mean,
you lose all of your loot.
You lose your loot, but there's no like penalty to the base player. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like they can just come back stronger and then beat you up because they have their ammo back. Like it's, I don't know. It's not good. It's not balanced right now. And I mean, No Man's Sky, which I guess we are talking about today, is like kind of doing some cool updates with their base game, and they've added a lot to it. But at the same time, that game was made by the people who made fucking Joe Danger, right? And this game was made by like an in-house studio at Microsoft over the course of 4 years. So I still just am like, what were you doing for 4 years? Like, what is there to show for it?
Is that, I don't know, like, I guess you not cynically, but if you look at it that way, that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is like the way these games and services like kind of like progress and grow with their communities over time. It's like, this isn't that, it's not too crazy to think that for 4 years they made a bunch of stuff, and maybe like they only made bits and pieces of other stuff that hasn't made it into the game yet, but over time is going to come to the game, and that will
then that's.
I'm just saying, like, that's how a lot of these games work.
$60. It's not worth the purchase.
I don't think a lot of people paid $60, which
but
is why I think the Game Pass is so ingenious.
That's so disingenuous to the consumer, though, to like even offer it for that much and be like, yeah, this is a full package. Like we're charging you full price for this game. But there's another thing that you can do for free and get it. But like to those people who don't maybe realize that or choose not to go that route, it's super like not friendly to the customer to be like, oh well, don't worry. In 2 years, this will be worth your money.
Well, isn't like the argument for that would be, isn't it like giving the customer like more options and ways to explore like how they're gonna pay for this? Like, wouldn't that be like very consumer friendly?
I think that if it were only available as part of Games Pass, that would be the best route. Like, but the way that it is now, you're essentially asking for $60 for what is like a shell of a game that may or may not end up having a foundation built upon. Much like we saw with No Man's Sky. And that game now might be worth $60, but at launch it sure as fuck didn't feel like it for a lot of people. And this is maybe even worse because at least that game you technically couldn't run out of things to do, but in Sea of Thieves, like, you absolutely will have seen everything after a certain amount of time, right? So
it's almost the early access argument where, like, I feel like this game would be doing a lot better and be received a lot better
Yeah.
if it were launched as an early access title.
I agree.
Where like it would make sense if there was this much of a fucking gap in content, but like right now for it to be released as like a full-fledged $60 game, there's not enough content for it to sustain itself.
It just feels like developers now see the games of service / early access craze as a good excuse to release an unfinished product and then just say we'll fix it later and see what they can get away with. And I just think that that's scummy as fuck. Like I hate it.
That's a very cynical way to look at it. I don't necessarily agree with this argument, but I think the positive way to look at it is you put a game out that might not be the best game in the world, and because the game is ever changing, because new things are being added, it allows the community to grow with the game, and allows them to like it fosters a community that is constantly engaging with like the new changes, new updates with the game, and it also like allows people like I mean I feel this way in a certain way with Destiny 1, with like how Caleb and Aaron and I played that game like when it was not good. And like playing that game at the time, it was not good, and I very much realized that. But I have like fond memories of like looking back at that stuff, and like I don't know, it fosters a sense of community in a game.
So you think that suffering?
I don't think this. I'm just saying that is the
like
argument
I
that
don't know.
like people would say.
But I completely disagree with that, because I think that the best way to do it is to
I'm probably in the
foster
middle
sense
of
of
this.
community through releasing a really good base game and then just adding on to that, instead of releasing a game that obviously is unfinished and making everybody really mad. And then the sense of community you get is, oh well, misery loves company. We're all gonna
Hey,
bitch
man.
and moan on Reddit,
I mean-
and talk shit about the devs all day until they fix the fucking game. That kind of sense of community is much worse, as we've seen with like a Destiny, than one where I was talking about, like with a Monster Hunter, where everybody's super happy, constructive, and very hyped for the next thing, and it's not just shit flinging the whole time.
The way
Fortnite.
I think we can measure this is if in November, if we're doing Sea of Thieves stories and not Monster Hunter stories, I think they'll like it'll like pretty much say like, hey, the better way to do this is to release a game that's like half and then add whole, rather than release a whole game and add more.
But if you're going to do that, why not call it early access, like which is what
There should
Fortnite
be a
did,
name.
and
There
they're
should be a
extremely
name for it.
successful.
That's not early
Not
access.
finished. DNF did not finish.
We gave
Here
up.
you go.
Because
If
early
people are
access
fine with
implies
early
that-
access games now, like fucking what's it called, was in like PUBG was in the running for Game of the Year, and
I don't
Technically,
disagree with
Fortnite's
you.
still early access. So
Yeah, Fortnite's still early access.
like if we're fine with early access, then why not slap that title on these games that clearly are fucking not complete?
Because I
like,
think
if you're
early
gonna,
access has a stigma with a lot of people.
does it
when
though
you-
anymore?
when
Like
you
Fortnite
have
is
a-
one of the most
Aren't
successful
finished.
games like ever.
I'm not
right, but when you have a game like from Rare that they worked on, like David said, for 4 years, and it's a first-party IP, like those games shouldn't be early access. Like you should release a full fucking game, and not just this
Yeah,
like
it's
like
not
you
like-
said shell. It's not fair to
Also,
the consumers.
Here's the other thing.
Fortnite is also free. Is like
I would, that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
much rather see a game come into early access and feel like a complete game, like Factorio or Dead Cells, than to see a game release in 1.0 like this and feel like it's early access. There's a right answer to those two.
I just think there
problems,
needs
and
to be
they
another
chose the
word.
wrong one. Yeah, there should be.
Maybe.
Because some games like Factorio and stuff are very feature complete in early access, and then they just to keep adding, and they don't really ever want to hit 1.0 because then then it's done. But we like to keep building hype. It's almost like another kind of games as a service, right? It's like the game isn't done. It's just we're just adding on, but not in the way that a game of service would. In that like there's events, but in like here's content.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine as long as you market it that way and you're very transparent with your customers. And indie Steam devs and stuff have a really good relationship with that. Microsoft's other game, Deep Rock Galactic, it's not technically their game, but they're I think they've paid for exclusivity rights on console. The Deep Rock Galactic devs are on their Steam all the time, talking to people, doing a community Discord. It's in early access, but it feels complete, and they're still adding a shit ton of things. So there's one of those is very much better than the other, and Rare did not choose the right path on this one. I think if they had called it early access, people still would have played it. If they had marketed it right and hyped it up right like they did, and then we wouldn't be in this position of, oh, well, it doesn't feel like a complete game, because we'd be like, oh, well, it's not, and let's just see what
People
happens.
wouldn't be pissed about it. They'd be like, oh, it's early access, and then
Yeah,
let it go.
it gives you a nice excuse to be like, well, they're going to add more and not have to feel as bad
And
about
I think
getting
it's a
burnt
little
out.
bit different when, like, with Sea of Thieves, you release, like, a game that feels unfinished and doesn't have enough content versus, like, the community being mad about something that needs to be changed and, like, the devs, like, responding to that. Like, Whereas with like Diablo 3, where it released with like that auction house kind of thing, and people were like, I don't really like the way this feels, and the devs responded to that, and they were like, okay, yeah, obviously we should change this. Versus this game not really having specific things that people have complaints about. It's just that the game doesn't have enough. So like there's differences between, you know, kind of releasing a game that needs some tweaks and changes to match the community versus just not being prepared to release a game after like years of working on it.
Right. And also to kind of compare it to Fortnite again, like if you release as an early access game, then it's gonna have an audience of people that play it while it's early access, and eventually you're gonna garner an audience of people that fall in love with it as an early access game, and then over time you're gonna release more and more content and hopefully improve upon what you already have, and people are gonna fall in love with. They're already in love with what you have. So as you add more and more content, then it just becomes this fucking like phenomenon, kind of like Fortnite did. Whereas in the beginning, it like we thought it was really good, but it's only gotten better and better and better with every update. So it's like I don't understand why. Well, I mean, not every update has been
there's some issues, but
I'm not saying it's perfect. But anyway, the point is like if you release it as early access, then you have so much room to grow. Whereas it's like, this is a finished game and we're confident with what we have. Like, you fucked up big time because this is an empty like husk of a game.
Yeah. Plus that communication between like the audience and the developer, if this is going to be like a games of service kind of thing, is really important. Like the transparency and like, this is where we're wrong and this is where we want to improve, versus just, here's our full game, this is it, with no plans for any like real DLC or anything added to it at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's I feel like that was a good topic.
Covered those bases.
Yeah. So that brings us. That's all the news this week. There's so like there's other news, but like I didn't think there was like big enough news.
I added something to the quick hits, but we'll get to it. I'll intro it and stuff.
I don't.
And we can just get impressions.
When does it come? Well, I mean, I can look. I can just look because I have things.
It's a PC Gamer article.
Okay. All right.
Cheyenne talked about it last week.
Is it the water and wine one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next story is still about Sea of Thieves, and it's about a player hitting the level cap. So Aaron, where does this come from?
This is Heather Alexandra from Kotaku.
Cool. So she writes, Sea of Thieves is a grindy game where even high-level quests can grant only a pittance of gold and reputation. One dedicated streamer has reached the maximum reputation with the game's 3 factions to become a pirate legend and unlock a secret hideout. There are 3 major factions in Sea of Thieves. The Gold Hoarders, the chicken-loving Merchants Alliance, and the creepy goth mobs of the Order of Souls. That must have been the Witch Lady, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Completing missions for these factions increases a player's reputation, but is a long way to the maximum rank of 50. Streamer Prodigy X, I'm going to say is how you probably pronounce it, has been playing Sea of Thieves relentlessly since release and managed to achieve rank 50 in all these factions. In the process, he impressed the judgmental, mysterious stranger who bestowed upon him the rank of Pirate Legend. Prodigy did receive help from viewers who farmed treasure for him before he joined their crew, so he could then turn in the loot for reputation bonuses. And in a game about pirates, this kind of trickery might seem fitting, but it does make the feat less impressive than if he endured the grinding and all the work alone. And some players on Reddit and social media are calling him out for this, and have started the hashtag #NotMyPirateLegend. Not my pilot legend, my dyslexia.
Pilot legend.
Calling on Rare to avoid conferring further in-game stats to Prodigy. The main thing about this, that's cool that he did that. I don't really care. How do you guys feel about him using his streamer platform to do this?
I mean, if his audience was willing to do this and like cared enough to do it, like it's not. I don't know that he's exploiting them. I guess he kind of is, but like they're doing it. I hope that he's not saying like, "Hey guys, you need to be doing this." I don't know.
The industry did this to itself. This game was totally marketed as like a streamer's wet dream. Like, oh, please stream Sea of Thieves. Oh, that's how we're gonna do all our marketing. We're gonna send it to all the streamers and they can play it. And then they are surprised when shit like this happens. Like, of course, like that's true. That's just how the game, like that's how it is now. And I mean,
I don't know if that makes it okay. Like, well, that happens.
It doesn't make it okay, but like, kind of like. You know, that's what you get when you make the game like a big streamer platform.
That's what you get when you let your heart win, as Haley would say.
As some would say, yeah.
As some would say.
So
I don't know,
Hard to
man. It's
say.
definitely an abuse of power. That's like any person who has a following. Like, I feel like you have a responsibility to your audience and to yourself to not abuse that. Like, when you know you have people that are going to be willing to do fucking anything that you ask them to do for your favor, I feel like you have a responsibility to yourself and to them to not abuse that for your own
but also
personal gain.
like, who cares about this?
I
Like,
mean, I
like, what
understand.
does
That's a
matter?
shitty attitude to have.
Yeah,
but-
what if there was some other streamer that wasn't like using other people's treasure? Like, I'm gonna be the first in the world to fucking do this, and like this guy kind of ruined it for him or something.
if some other streamer,
If some other streamer, or some other person, like they don't necessarily have to be a streamer, they were like, I'm a speedrunner. I'm some kind of 100% person that like really this matters to me. I love Sea of Thieves, and like I wanted to be the first person to discover this like kind of hidden room.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it seems kind of like
I don't actually agree with that. I think it's dumb. I think this is fine. I don't care.
The-
But like that's
the-
the counter argument.
the platform kind of lends itself to that kind of. It's not even abuse. It's almost just like an exploit by like having all these people like. It's a multiplayer game, so I think that like the fact that this can happen at all within the game's boundaries and like it's fine. Like I just don't see it as like a competition. Like I guess technically it is, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel like something that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, and I'm also just kind of like, yeah, like of course that's who would get it.
I think
first, like,
we'd all be
somebody
more invested if we cared about Sea of Thieves more. Maybe.
right. If there was like a
Yeah.
World of Warcraft like achievement for like doing some crazy thing that required a lot of like effort, and some streamer did it first, I could see like being a little bit salty, like, well, that's kind of like cheating, but like at the same time, it'd be like it's a community game, so like the fact that they used their community kind of makes sense, and I'm not that torn up about it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. The argument would be, I guess, that they like by being successful, like created that community. Kind of, I don't know. Like they wouldn't have that community if they hadn't already been successful in some sense.
I mean, I guess it's interesting to think about, but I don't really think it's a problem.
It just to me feels like an abuse of power. Like I don't know.
I can see that. Yeah.
What-
I mean,
what- I'm sorry.
no, I just that makes sense. Like you wouldn't want him to use his followers in any other way, like saying like, you need to do this for me, but like, I think this is harmless enough that
Yeah,
it
this
doesn't
is like
really bother me.
a wholesome way to do it, but like I think where it becomes a problem is if you use your following or your whatever you want to call it to do negative things, which obviously this isn't that. But I still think that you should be careful with these kind of things.
I agree.
My contention, or not contention, my related thing is back when Beyond was a thing. They Greg Miller had a like I can't remember. It was like it wasn't his nephew, but something akin to that. And they rigged like an art fair for him. It was very funny, where everybody could vote online.
Greg really likes
thought it was
pushing
the
votes on
funniest thing.
things.
Thought it was the funniest thing.
That's yeah.
I'm like it's a joke. I thought it was.
I
funny.
know, but like,
I mean, again, that's a really small scale, but it's still kind of fucked up because there were
Yeah,
kids
oh,
that
no,
like
there's
wanted to
kids
win
that probably
that.
cared.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thought that was really funny. Anyway, maybe not even an art thing. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just thought it was a related thing. Anyway, this next story comes from where?
You'll have to let me open it up. I'm a little bit behind. This next story comes
put lead
from
in
Brian
the pencils?
Ashcraft through Kotaku.
Kotaku.com. It says Final Fantasy director has a new team. A studio called Luminous Productions will be headed up by Hajime
Hold on, where's
Tabata.
the name?
I know it. I know how to say Tabata, but director of Final Fantasy 15. According to Square Enix, it will primarily develop AAA games as well as new and unique entertainment experiences. Tabata will be the studio boss as well as the chief operating officer, and the studio aims to make the games for a global audience. Square Enix's official announcement via 4Gamer adds that the studio's original core members will be comprised of Final Fantasy 15 team members. An announcement will be made in mid-2018 regarding the studio's new project, I assume at E3. Currently, Luminous Productions website has slogans that might shed further light on the project, and if one of you would click on that,
Yeah.
and like, do you see? You don't have to click on it, but do you see like the logos, like of all like the fucking buzzwords that they have? Like,
I
on
love
the-
it.
Yeah.
Scheme,
It's
obsess, create, iterate,
it's
start over,
ridiculous.
repeat.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this, Drew?
I'm not gonna try, Obviously, they haven't talked about like anything that they'll actually be working on yet. But this kind of stuff doesn't really get me that excited anymore. We've seen so many hits and like misses and hits. It's kind of like more so in the misses of like seeing studio heads leave or certain groups leave from other companies and like trying to put out their own game, and then it's just a big flop. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really just whatever at this point.
Well, the difference here is that it's still backed by Square Enix. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like he's leaving the company to go on his own. And this is kind of just like a
studio
splinter.
inside of
Yeah.
Square.
As
I'm
if they don't
hopeful,
do enough
like-
already, though.
I mean, whatever. Like, they said that developing Final Fantasy 15 would let them develop other titles more quickly because of the assets and the engine. So I think this is just him being like, hey, I know how to use this now, and my team is really confident. Can we go into our own thing? And Square Enix was like, yeah, totally. You've worked on Final Fantasy 15 for like 3 years. Go for it.
Yeah.
I think they'll put something cool out. Probably more than one cool thing out. I think he's passionate. I think his team has got a lot of experience now. This is different. This would be like Druckmann leaving Naughty Dog to go start another studio under Sony's umbrella. Like, you would still expect those. Like, you wouldn't be like,
It
oh,
would
that's
be
gonna
like
suck. Yeah, so that would be like, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Then he's got the same team that made whatever The Last of Us. So that should be fucking awesome. Like, I'm hopeful that this will be good. I never played Final Fantasy 15, but I know a lot of people love it.
Still
I
have
know
my
they
copy.
Had some problems. Yeah, I do.
Yep,
I need to play
sure
it.
do.
It's done now. They like finished releasing updates, so I need to get back to it. But I think he can do cool things with his team. I believe that their engine hopefully will let Square Enix as a whole push out content a little faster, because they have been slow as fuck getting shit out. Like, oh my gosh. But I'm hopeful. I'm excited for this. I think it's cool.
Cool. This next story is about No Man's Sky coming to Xbox. Aaron, where's this come from?
Is it Gita Jackson?
Gita.
Kotaku? Gita?
I guess I just went with all Kotaku stories this week. No Man's Sky released as a timed exclusive for PlayStation 4 in 2016 and will be coming to Xbox One this summer, and also is getting a huge update. Sean Murray, founder of No Man's Sky's development company Hello Games, said over email that the Xbox One release of No Man's Sky has been hotly requested by patient Xbox fans. The Xbox One version will contain all the previous updates to the game and an upcoming update dubbed Next at the time of release. The game will also be enhanced for the Xbox One X and have a worldwide physical release published by 505 Games. Murray said Next will be by far our biggest original update, by far our biggest update so far, and like previous updates, free to all players. We'll continue to support No Man's Sky in this way for the foreseeable future, Murray said. We've learned a lot over the last few years, and faster than we would have liked. I'd love to avoid talking completely and just make people play the game.
That's literally him being like, I'm gonna shut the fuck up now, and I'm gonna not say anything else. If you learned anything, it's that you don't fucking market on hype and then fail to deliver. That's funny. I think they know what they did. They need.
They know what they did. Do you have that foreboding
what you've
message for them, Aaron?
I don't.
No. Anybody else have anything else to say to this?
I think it'll be cool. I mean, I don't know. I probably won't be, but
We'll see.
whatever. They're trying, but then again,
Yeah.
can they really make anything else? Like, can they make another game and have people like buy it? No, they fucking can't. They're stuck now with this game because it's the only thing I can do until they prove that they're capable of delivering. Because if they were to release a new title, everyone would be like, "Oh, it's you assholes! No, we're not gonna buy your game." Like, so they have to be like, "We're gonna deliver the feature complete No Man's Sky," which, you know, that's cool. That's what they got to do. And then hopefully once that's done and maybe gets re-reviewed by IGN in like 2019 and whatever people like it, then they can move on as a more veteran studio. But yeah.
My biggest complaint about this shit is I hate when fucking first parties make these what exclusivity deals and then bar people from telling you when the exclusivity deal is up. Because like this is just getting announced now that it's coming to Xbox. It's not like they haven't been able to make this game for Xbox. Like they knew when this game could come out for Xbox. It's not like Sony just gave them an arbitrary time or something.
Well, they like to spin it like, oh, we heard you, Microsoft
I
fans.
fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, okay.
So much.
I'm with you.
That shit is terrible. On both the developer side, for them to be like, oh, thank you so much for Xbox fans for being patient. And on the publisher side, for telling developers, hey, you can't even talk about the Xbox One version until X date.
Yeah,
like, that
so,
shit
there's
is
a bunch
annoying
of like 16-year-olds being like, they listened.
It's so terrible. I fucking hate that trash.
God.
This next story, I think comes from Kotaku, but it's like he didn't really write anything, so I'm not. You don't even worry about it. As of tomorrow, the starter PlayStation VR camera bundle will be $100 cheaper. So that brings the original bundle down to $299, and like some of the pack-in bundles to like $250. Anybody gonna buy a PSVR because it's cheaper now?
No.
All right, cool. Next story. Yeah, that is the enthusiasm.
Literally.
That is the enthusiasm level for PSVR. And you know how I know that? Because this is the first PSVR story I've seen in, like, I kid you not, 2 months. That means no one's clicking on this
It's
shit.
a catch-22
no
because there's no worthwhile software, so no one's buying it.
And
And no one's going to make worthwhile software because no one's
buying.
buying it. So, you
I think
fucked up. They should have had it out the door
it's
with...
a catch-1 situation because the hardware isn't there yet.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the biggest problem.
That might be the
because
biggest
no
issue.
one
This
wants to
would-
fucking
it
have a
would
whole
have-
spider web on their face.
There would have to be a huge price cut for me to even consider this. Like,
I feel so
it might be
fucking
cool to play
vindicated,
like
though.
1 or 2 games on it, but like, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
not.
VR is just, fuck it. Fuck it right now. Maybe in like 5 years when they fix it and it's not shitty.
This next story is about Dragon Quest XI coming to the PS4. Aaron, where's this from?
It's Timur Hussein from GameSpot.
This one says Square Enix has announced that Dragon Quest XI echoes of an elusive age. How are we feeling about that
I like that
subtitle?
subtitle.
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
I think it's
good.
pretty cool and it's unique and it sounds good.
Will be available on PlayStation 4 and PC through Steam in the West on September 4th. The game has been available in Japan for a while now, but Square Enix has made a number of tweaks to the experience to make it more friendly to Western audiences. This includes English voiceover. No, that's not what that means.
Just kidding.
This
It's a
includes
joke.
English voiceover as well as the overhauled menu and user interface system. They also announced that they are dropping the 3DS version of the game, and that the Switch version will be coming later on.
Okay. I didn't read about the.
That's not in
like
that
that's-
story, but that's
It is,
CJ.
it's
Oh, it is. All right, never mind.
Yeah, it says a
I saw
Nintendo
something
Switch
fall
version
behind
is
me.
also in the
Huh?
works, but-
Dude, it happened fucking last week.
There was
I
something
linked it to
behind
all
me.
you guys, or I sent it in the Snapchat.
I
There's
got
almost a
fucking
fucking
orbs.
brick that fell behind you
Orbs.
last
No, there was like
No,
a
it was
dust something.
dust. Yeah, it was just dust.
It's the
You guys have
asbestos.
monstrous
Anyway.
dust bunnies.
Oh
dude.
yeah, it's just the
Drew, I know you're hyped
mold
for Dragon
that's
Quest
killing us.
11. Getting them slimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
something else.
I mean, I like the Dragon Quest games, but I asked you earlier this week. I said, do I wait
We're
for the
streaming
Switch version?
Fortnite. Oh, you were like, what game are you excited for on the Switch?
No,
Or was it? What were you doing?
no. I
No, that
just
was
straight
true.
up asked you. I said, should I wait for Dragon Quest 11 to come on the Switch?
Oh, that's
because
what
how
it was.
long is that going to take?
That you're right.
And then also, is it just going to be the 3DS one, or are they actually going to?
I assume they're gonna
work
do it from
on
the
it.
ground up kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, one would hope.
But no, wait, wasn't this the game that like
Well-
you asked me? It's like, what game are you excited for? Or didn't I say something like, when is Dragon Quest 11 getting a release date? Like in a stream or something? No. All right, never mind.
No idea. I'm excited for it
All right,
because I
fuck
haven't
me.
played anything since Dragon Quest Builders, and
Yeah.
I like JRPGs sometimes when they're like not weeb shit. Like, you know, Goonie and this sound good to me, so I'm gonna play it. Yeah, cool.
Alright.
This
Seems
next
interesting.
story is coming at you from PC Gamer. I
Yeah,
added
was
this to the
gonna
list.
I was going to intro. had a
I
whole
got
intro.
it. I want to do it.
I had a whole intro
So-
built for you.
All right, go for it.
No, fuck it.
All right, fuck it. Where the water tastes like wine is a commercial disaster. Dev says in painful post. Is coming from PC Gamer, Austin Wood. So the developer of Where the Water Tastes like Wine was the lead programmer on Gone Home. In case you guys didn't know,
What is the name of their studio?
these guys. That's a good question. I don't actually know.
I know
know
it's
if it
Dim
says
Bulb.
because it's just
Dim
this,
Bulb.
This
Yeah,
dude.
and the previous studio was Fulbright.
Jesus Christ,
Why did you ask? Why not just say
Not
that?
because I was setting up the funniness, but like,
that's funny.
I fucked the fourth wall.
Jonaman Nordhagen said
That's not his
that
name.
essentially that's his name.
It is.
He said that the game sold fewer in its first few weeks than the amount of followers he had on Twitter, which is 4,200 people. So this game has sold less than 4,000 copies.
It's sold at least one to me.
Yeah, you bought it. and then he basically is like bemoaning that like the games industry is, doesn't have space for these kind of games. Indie games that focus on art and creativity are doomed, and he's just doom and gloom, blah blah blah. And he's basically saying like, we had so much press coverage and we had like such good voice actors and a celebrity cameo. Why did it fail? And I'm like, maybe the game just wasn't that good. Like it didn't review that well. And I remember seeing exactly one blurb for it during E3 last year.
Yeah. I didn't even hear about it
15
until
seconds
it came
long.
out.
And also the game runs really shitty. Like on PC, like it stutters like fucking hell. Like it's unavoidable. Like, and so he's just like, this is terrifying. And I'm just like,
I mean,
what are your guys' thoughts on
understand
this? Cheyenne, what do you think? You bought the game.
Yeah, so I like the game because that's the kind of game that I like, and I think regardless of like performance issues, I would buy that game. And there are a few people like me, but performance issues are, a big problem for people, and I didn't hear about it until it came out. And if this doesn't immediately sound like something you're interested in without any marketing that you can hear of, like, you're not going to be interested in it. And he also might be a little bit right that the market for indie games like this just isn't
It's not where it was
there.
when Gone Home came out. That's for sure. Because we've seen this kind of game.
I don't think
when
this
Gone
game
Home,
isn't
This
like
isn't
Gone
like
Home.
Gone Home at all.
but it's a narrative-driven indie game, which
Yeah,
is like
but it's like a text adventure more so than.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Have you
know
played it?
much about it. I've seen
Yeah.
game. I watched
It's
him
much
doing
different
it.
than. It's not a walking
isn't-
simulator in any way.
No, it isn't. I mean, you do walk around, but it's not like you get this. It's.
But what
I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
is, you just don't see games like this or Tacoma or what's the Thomas Was Alone guy's game?
Like Bithel, Subsurface Circular.
Yeah, like those games, you don't see them being like blockbusters. Like
Yeah.
Gone Home was a blockbuster because it was like almost the first of its kind. So he had lightning in a bottle with Gone Home, and then he was just like, I can just do that again and make another game that's, creative and indie and has good writing or whatever. And it'll just sell automatically because that's what people want. It's like, that's not how that works. Like, you can't just, that's like almost entitlement. Like, that's almost like, I made a game, so you have to fucking buy it. Like, that's
the thing
not
about like the
how it
celebrity
works.
cameo and the voice acting
That's
and
so
stuff, like that's not
self-centered.
what sells the game. It's
Like,
the
look
game
at the
that
most
sells.
successful indie games today are the ones that truly surprise people. Like Undertale was like unlike anything else that had come out.
I
Rocket
don't-
League, like the gameplay of that, and
Yeah, I don't think that indie games have to be like something completely
no,
different.
don't get
and
me wrong.
new
I'm not
to,
saying
to be good.
but my argument is like for them to do what Gone Home did and like really shake up the genre and be like big, huge hits, like he's saying.
Yeah.
If you want your game to sell well, then I think a really good community management is important.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard now, especially, and I think what he's getting at, and I do agree with this, is the market is super saturated with shit. Like, especially
True.
Steam, and even the Switch now. You look at the Switch releases, and it's just like, what the fuck is any of this? Like, it's all shovelware, and it's so many people are making so many games, and they're not taking these big risks that the people who really are writing on their game selling well are in way more danger of financial ruin, because you pour your heart and soul and life savings into making this game. You think it's going to do well and rise to the top of the crop, and it just doesn't.
Top of the crop.
Top of the crop. Because that's just not something you can count on anymore. And I don't know if you ever really could, but what we're seeing now is making games is more accessible, and making good games is easier because of modern engines and Unity and things that indie devs can use. So it takes a lot.
But also,
And
like, making shit games is a lot easier too.
And that's also.
I feel like it's a complication of like a bunch of different.
I'm oversimplifying, and I'm being a little bit of.
And like, I feel like you're being like a little harsh on this dude. I don't think his like quote is like, "You didn't buy my game. What the fuck, man?" His
Yeah.
quote
It
is
sure
like,
sounds kind of.
I
really
mean,
not,
he's literally made no money on this game that
He lost
spent 4 years
140,000
making.
on
Like,
it, actually. He did
Yeah.
something.
I mean,
Also, you mentioned
know.
community management. You have to have a community to have community management. Then this game didn't sell anything to have a community, so like, there's no need. That is not the issue.
I think what he means is just having like
I'll get to
kind
that
of
when I talk about synthetic. Okay.
Okay.
I'm learning the
fucking let you
power
to talk
of
to
a,
that fucking edgelord title of a game, dude.
Oh my
if
god.
I
you're so
get
smart.
my platform, I know what it takes. But
Okay.
I think more so this interview is about like the trends of stuff, and I think we heard a lot about this when Broken Age got kickstarted. Like Tim Schafer went on that whole like tour where he was saying like, I don't know if there's a market for adventure games anymore, and clearly they were able to turn a profit.
of course
and, like,
there is.
Yeah.
and
Like-
make a thing on that game. But I understand where this guy is coming from in that like text adventure games are a different genre that many people aren't experienced to. But I think there have been lots of cool like adventure games in this style that have come out in the past few years. Yeah, maybe. But the game did review pretty well, so like. It
Yeah.
reviewed-
And I mean,
I mean,
like,
let's see.
it
What
was
is it?
75 on Metacritic.
That's bad.
That's
by
not
modern
That's
bad.
not
That
bad.
is
That's literally
enough for
the
a
green
lot-
one.
It's like pretty good.
That's enough for a lot of people to be like, I'll get
Maybe
the one
you.
that had an 80. Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
that's like
That's-
I'm super picky about my games. Like
You
I,
are.
I
You
feel like a
are.
lot of people are, and you have to be because they're kind of expensive, and there's a shit ton of them
That
coming out all the
expensive. It's
time.
like
I
20 bucks.
understand that.
The other issue I would say with this game is that like while there is shit on the Switch and there is shit clogging up the PSN store, Steam is a fucking billion times worse than all of that.
Yeah, it's a
and the
fucking-
fact
Oh,
that
yeah.
it only came out on PC at launch like is a problem. Like
Yeah,
put your games on console at launch because
Yeah.
console players buy
Honestly,
games.
yeah, I would have preferred to play this on PS4 or
do
Switch.
it on Switch. It'll just sell
Yeah.
like a billion times
Yeah.
apparently.
I don't know. Yeah, if you have a game on Switch that like 3 podcasts talk about, that's like a guaranteed fucking install base. Right? I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Just that's my thoughts about that. So that brings us to the next story, which is about the PlayStation Plus and games with gold for the month. They are as follows. So PlayStation Plus on PS4, you're going to be getting Mad Max and Trackmania Turbo.
Cool, I just bought that.
and that's funny. In PS3, we get In Space We Brawl and Toy Home. On
Okay.
PS Vita, we get 99 Vitas, not Vitas, but Vitas.
Vita.
And Qbert Rebooted, which is also cross-buy with 360 or PS3. It's 360 cross-buy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cross-platform cross-buy.
Wow.
PS3 and PS4. And then with games with gold, we're getting The Witness, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Disney Pixar's Cars 2. Jesus Christ! Like the first 2 games are awesome, and then Disney Pixar's Cars 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dead Space 2 are also coming out. So what are we thinking about these months?
Xbox
I think
has
PS4 is
better
good.
games overall.
I think they're all good. This is a pretty good month for these. Mad Max is something I wouldn't have wanted to pay for, but I've kind of wanted to try. So it's like the perfect game to put on there. Because if they're too good, like obviously we already bought them, and if they're like shitty,
Like
it's like we
Trackmania
won't put
Turbo,
shitty
man, it's
on
just
it.
too good.
Like good games are like the perfect middle ground. Trackmania is fun. You guys should try it. It's actually really.
I might. That'd be like a fun
You
let's
should.
play.
It's
Now it's
on
free.
Yeah.
it's on my Xbox account, CJ.
It is. I saw it on there.
It's a
I
fun
did not
game.
download it. I didn't have enough space.
It's very fucking hard.
Because fucking Gears and Halo are legit 200 gigabytes.
I know.
Goodness.
It's like absurd.
Dude,
yeah, you can-
compression is a lost art.
Yeah, it really. I mean, it's like I don't know. Like some of these games, like they do an update and like, do they not delete the old information that like the update is fixing? Like it just like stacks it on top of there. Like
You look at a game.
I don't
like,
get it.
Monster Hunter was what, like 18 gigs, and people are like, oh, it's so small, and it's like, no, Capcom just knows how to fucking compress things, unlike Microsoft, where it's like, here's Gears 4, it's like
It's
60
absurd.
gigabytes.
I'm like, what the
What are
fuck?
you
Yeah.
doing?
Like The Last of Us is 50 gigs. That game is like 12 hours.
Jesus.
Like
Yeah,
there's a
like,
lot of like
it's just-
beautiful
The
stuff
Witcher
in that
3
game,
is
but
like
the
50
Witcher
or
3 is less than
80.
that with all the DLC. I think.
It's
Yeah.
literally
And it's a
laziness.
humongous game. Like,
I don't know.
anyway.
Anyways.
Anyway, that brings us to what you know. What that brings us to, Aaron.
Bow, 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 bow.
That's right, the weekly Fortnite news update. And then you do the theme song.
I mean, we already kind of did it.
All right, cool.
That was the air horn.
Low energy with the theme song this week. And that is
Next
good.
week, I got you, dude.
That is good that there is low energy because we got some news about Fortnite this week. This story comes from where?
Patricia Hernandez from Kotaku.
It's almost as like I got these stories all from Kotaku.
Mine wasn't.
They got the
Thanks,
stories,
Kotaku.
man.
It reads as follows: Ninja, the biggest popular Fortnite streamer, who, if you're not familiar with, set the record for whatever. He said the N-word this week on stream.
Right after playing with Drake.
Rapping to a song that didn't even have the N-word in it.
Yesterday, Tyler Ninja Blevins, the hottest streamer on Twitch, was streaming Fortnite with a buddy. The pair wanted to find a good song to vibe out during their Battle Royale hunt. Eventually, they put on Logic's 44 More, which I don't really care for Logic. We'll break this down with my thoughts on Logic. I thought the Everybody album was interesting. It did some interesting
things. This isn't a music podcast.
Yeah.
It did some interesting things in relation to like his mixed race heritage and stuff like that.
If you want to continue
but then the Bobby
music
Tarantino
podcast,
mixtapes are really just not doing it for me. And this is where this was found on. Blevins started ad-libbing through the start of the song. That's when Blevins slipped up and said the N-word in front of thousands of fans. A clip of the slip-up is now circulating on Twitter, which you can find. Just type in Ninja. And it's coming from the stream. Apparently, he was streaming too. But the way Twitch does archives and stuff like that is like if there was licensed music, which there was, like it'll get muted like afterward. But in Nade Shot, who was playing with Matthew Hag, I think is how you say it. His stream, you can hear him say it over the mic. He was playing with during the stream as Blevels stumbles through some of the lyrics of the song. It's very funny, and then when he says the N-word, Hag winces noticeably. It's so awkward. It's so cringy. I didn't update this. He did apologize. If somebody wants to pull up his apology, maybe, and read that. But yeah, what are we thinking about that, Aaron? How do you feel about white people saying the N-word?
I mean, probably shouldn't.
Don't do it.
I mean, is there any more to say about that?
It's easy.
Is somebody pulling up his apology?
I'm watching for maximum cringe.
Yeah, it's loading they friggin' embedded the tweets. So I have to wait for those to load. Okay. So he's got a few tweets. While I am confident that most of this is a misunderstanding, I recognize that it's my responsibility to never let there be this kind of a misunderstanding. More than anything, I hate that any of my friends, fans, or viewers might feel disrespected. It is my job, and hopefully I'm usually good at it, to make everyone feel welcome, valued, and safe to be themselves. So I want to apologize to anyone who might feel hurt because I never want that. It's my stream, and it's on me to make that right. The best way I can explain it is that I promise that I understand how much pain that word causes, even if it gets used a lot in music and elsewhere. It's a word historically used to divide people, and I'm about bringing people together. I promise that there was no malintent. I wasn't even trying to say the word. I fumbled lyrics and got tongue-tied in the worst possible way. Again, I apologize for offending anyone and appreciate you all rocking with me.
So what do we make of this?
Don't say it. Like, I don't know what's so hard about that. Like,
I don't think I've ever slipped up my words and said the N-word.
I've never just been talking, stuttered, said the N-word, and been like, whoa. I'm sorry.
Man.
Tongue-tied.
Yeah, I messed up the lyrics, man, out of my head. Like, if that word is already floating in your head, you might,
And sometimes when I get confused, the words just jumble together and it turns into that.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, cool.
I mean, I think it's just shitty. I don't understand, how this keeps happening.
Yeah.
When, it's every streamer.
You've seen everybody fucking do it. Like,
it's almost like this is like a joke or like a satire or something. Like, how is
everyone's like, all right, we're just going to, periodically, we're just going to take turns saying the N-word.
Yeah, see how much shit we get in.
See how much shit we can get for it.
It's like, watch me take this dive and see if I can get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like, why? I just watched the clip. Why try to rap the song if you don't know the words? Why even do it at all?
Rapping's fun.
Even if you're rapping a song with the N-word, just don't say it. It's easy.
Yeah, no, I'm killer with the
censor
edits
yourself.
when I rap, dude.
I learned that from Fantana. You just don't say it. It's easy. You're not allowed to say that word. You can sing the song, just don't say that word. Wow.
It's easy.
There's plenty of other words you cannot use too.
And you definitely don't put the word in where it isn't already there.
Yeah, that's
like double bad.
He's trying to do like ad libs, like he's fucking Migos, and like you just.
Yeah, I thought it was like he said it because the song said it, and then I was like, oh, we'll have a fun debate about if that's okay. But then it was like, no, he just said it for no good reason. Like, don't do that. Please.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I will say, I'll go on record as saying I'm not the person to be giving people passes on the N-word. Obviously, I know that, but it's not as bad as the Pootie Pie thing.
No.
Yeah.
Anybody want to have that conversation with me?
Not at all. No. That's not even up for debate.
Not
That's
saying
like-
it's okay
that's like
whatsoever,
saying it as
but
like
it's
a-
not as
yeah.
bad as
It's
the
like-
PewDiePie thing.
Saying
Yeah.
it and thinking you're being in like the cultural zeitgeist, and saying it and being like a vindictive, like this is a bad word.
Yeah, no,
this
he
is
was
bad
using it
insult.
as, like, an
That's
insult,
much
like-
different. Like
Yeah.
neither of them are good, but like one is far worse than the
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
So there's no debate
For
there.
sure.
Okay, I didn't know how everybody was.
We agree on this.
Yep. All right,
Um,
what's next Fortnite?
the next Fortnite stream is that the YouTube streaming record has been broken. Where's the story from, Aaron?
I'm sorry, I was watching that.
Where does it
clip.
come
What
from,
did you say?
Aaron?
Anybody else? Where's it come from? Somebody tell me.
This is from IGN. It's
Probably
still loading
Kotaku.
for me though, so I'm not sure who wrote it.
It's from IGN apparently. I found something else.
Alex Gilyadov.
Gileadov.
That is an Eastern European name if I've ever heard one.
This says last night, which was probably a week ago at this point, over 1 million people turned in to watch a stream of Fortnite from Spanish YouTuber El Rubius. YouTube's Alex Rubens confirmed on Twitter roughly 1.1 million people watched his stream concurrently, which was part of a larger event organized by El Rubius and gathered more than 100 of the top Spanish-speaking Fortnite streamers. While El Rubius stream brought in 1.1 million viewers, even more people watched the 99 participant stream as well. So the overall viewer count of the tournament was much higher. So basically, so we talked about Ninja not saying the N-word last week in a very positive light, breaking the Twitch concurrent record of like around 600.
Streaming with actual like famous
with
rappers, but-
Drake and Travis Scott and Juju Smith-Schuster. He got around 600,000 on Twitch, and then this he's not random, obviously. He's one of the biggest YouTubers there is, but like we don't watch Spanish-speaking YouTubers, so we don't know who he is. This guy El Rubius just destroyed that with 1.1 million on YouTube streaming. So I don't know how what do you guys make of this, Aaron?
I mean, cool, good for him. I mean, it's probably going
I
to keep
wanna-
happening. I'm sure it's going to happen with somebody else relatively soon too.
It's gonna happen with us. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Yeah,
what I've always
dude.
been saying.
We're gonna
I make
win.
very
No,
vague
I
headlines on the YouTube videos, so they're definitely gonna gain some traffic.
I understand that. Yeah, this is it broke the Twitch record, but you also it was a combination of 100,
100
right?
people.
100 other
Yeah.
YouTube streamers that have some sort of following versus like one streamer with 600,000.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And also
even though
Drake.
Ninja sucks this week,
Uh-huh.
that 600,000 is more impressive to me.
I
than
would
a
say
million
it's a little more
versus-
impressive
100
Yeah.
people.
because like
Yeah.
number one, YouTube is just a bigger platform generally. Like I think Ninja has
True.
like 5 million subs on Twitch or whatever, followers, whatever you call it.
Followers,
Whereas this
yeah.
guy has like 30,000 subs or 30 million subs on YouTube. And also YouTube is just more ubiquitous, like in the general lexicon. I think a
Yeah.
lot more people. Like if Drake had tweeted out a YouTube link, probably more people would have known what that was than Drake tweeting out a Twitch link. So I don't know.
True.
It's just my thought about that. This last one comes from where?
GameSpot. Eddie
Manute.
Perfect.
Sorry, Eddie.
He says, according to Todd Sweeney, the head Fortnite developer at Epic Games, it is in the industry's best interest to allow gamers on competing platforms to play together, and it's inevitable that this will happen. This is him speaking at GDC recently. Sweeney said that PlayStation and Xbox gamers playing together is the next logical step for Fortnite. Do we think Fortnite is going to be crossplay? Is this the one that's going to do it, guys?
I fucking hope so.
Carry this topic. I have to
mean,
get some water.
I really hope, because I think Sony's the only one that's holding out now. They're the reason that Rocket League isn't crossplay with Xbox and Switch. They are the holdouts. There's no other way to put this. I'm confident that Microsoft, if given the opportunity, would say yes, we will do that. Sony it feels like they're in the lead, so they're the ones holding out. Even though I don't think they really have anything to lose from this, considering it's a free game and it's consumer friendly on their part. I think
Oh yeah. I mean,
it's not gonna. I don't know. It keeps people, I guess, from being like, "Oh, buy a PS4 so you can play with us," because then they could just say, "Oh, I'll buy an Xbox so I can play with you instead." But like, it's almost not
Yeah.
worth it to hurt your image that much just to sell a few more consoles.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah.
I think a lot of people have been asking for this, and like it would be the right move to allow this to happen because Fortnite is so huge that like people are gonna want to play with their Xbox friends and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that that it would be a problem. Like, oh, like I can play it with my friends on Xbox. I'll get an Xbox instead because it doesn't matter which one I have. Like, I don't think that this would have a huge difference on like the sales because you can play on either one. Like, it wouldn't
Also, the
matter
game is
which
free,
console
so,
that you
like,
have if you can
yeah.
play with anyone.
Right.
I think. Did you guys talk about Rocket League at all? I wasn't listening.
I did.
It was
I mentioned it.
Like,
Yeah. I said that Sony are the holdouts, and that's why.
Yeah, Sony are the holdouts. Rocket League talked about that. Fortnite's way bigger than Rocket League. If anyone's gonna do it, Fortnite could be the one to do it. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Just the general thoughts I have about that. But that brings us to the topic of the week, where Cheyenne and Drew they've been scouring the internet.
Oh,
They've been
yeah.
out there on the World Wide Web, the deep net. They've been on Silk Road buying weed, getting it mailed to their house. The weed's sealed, vacuum sealed. Dogs can't smell it. They're fine with that. You know what I'm saying, Drew? So they've been out there doing that, and they got the topic of the week for us this week. So I'll let you guys take it away.
Yeah, so the topic comes from actually a combination of two articles, and I'm going to just go ahead and read a couple things from Patrick Klepek from Waypoint. Had a article about teachers and parents. He interviewed a bunch of different teachers and parents about like the effect Fortnite's kind of had and what they've seen with their kids, their students, etc. It was just interesting because I think when I brought this up, I was talking about how so many times people say that there's like a negative effect video games have on like social interactions because we don't meet the social norms and that, you know, oh, you want to stay inside and play games with your friends, but you need to go outside and actually talk to them. But one of the parts of Patrick's article that I thought was really interesting was they're talking about this guy Nathaniel said one of my shy new kids has become a walking strategy guide for other kids, and he loves it. He said normally he described him as like a smart but low self-esteem, very quiet, very introverted, and because Fortnite's become such a huge phenomenon that everyone wants to play, like kids are, you know, reaching out to him and kind of like he's gone from introverted to extroverted, and like it's just interesting to see that where a lot of people might say that video games make you more of an introvert. Like this is an example of how, you know, it crosses over, and that he's able to make more friends, and they said because of all that involvement he's like more extroverted now. So it was just interesting because I've heard it, like I've talked with my parents like about like my younger brother, he plays games online all the time, and they're like, oh, you know, you need to do this, do that, go out and like hang out with your friends or whatever. But I mean, it's the same thing. Like I think we've all done it. I mean, we hang out in person too, but like we've all done it. We make time, we do the streams, but even outside of that, like we play games together, and it's not. I don't think there's really any big difference in that. Like you can make friends online. Granted, I don't play with any people that I don't know, but like Cheyenne, you do. So like, you know, you've created a whole community of friends that you've never met, but like you know about them, and it's cool to see like Fortnite's kind of bringing it out in other people as like in the games and as well as online. But that kind of leads to just real quick the second part, and that with Fortnite Mobile, you put an article in talking about gender and like what how people are treating that. So
so I want to kind of go off of what you were saying before I just respond to that first, where like the shy kids are kind of being able to talk about games in a bigger way than they could have before, because usually the gamer kids are kind of the ones that, like you said, stay at home and like aren't as social. But like Fortnite has kind of made it where like all of the cool kids are talking about Fortnite, but they aren't necessarily like the good ones at the game. Like a lot of the shy ones could be the good ones that are talking about like, you know, all of the tips that, you know, help all the kids. And I think that's really cool. I really wonder what it would be like right now to be in high school and to be playing Fortnite, because that would, like, I was one of the shy kids that like was super introverted, and like I really wonder how that would feel for me. Like it's a little bit different in college where like a lot more people I think are playing games because they have more like autonomy, where like their parents aren't being like, you know, hey, why are you sitting in your room all day playing games?
right.
But it also opens up like more women and girls to be able to play because this game is so huge, they kind of have to know about it. Partially because, like, this Waypoint article mentions, like, because all of their guy friends are starting to be a little less social, and they're playing Fortnite more, and they're ignoring their girlfriends and not texting them back, and all of that kind of silly stuff.
Have you encountered that with David when he plays Fortnite?
He doesn't play Fortnite. I'm the one that plays Fortnite. I think that's really funny.
Yeah,
But
it's the
that
exact
also
opposite.
brings me to the Kotaku article, where Fortnite Mobile is kind of bringing that into question also, because a lot of girls are kind of told that, you know, gaming is like a boys thing, and like they're not really encouraged to get those consoles and stuff, but they do have cell phones. So Fortnite being on mobile now, like, Fortnite is now accessible to a lot more girls than before. So they're getting to be involved in, you know, the big game that everyone's talking about, and like maybe being introduced to video games as a whole and not really seeing it as like a boys thing. Or at the same time, like, this article has a lot of tweets from guys being like, girls think they're us now because they've got Fortnite on mobile, or like all of a sudden it's on mobile and every girl wants to play it, where before they were like mad at us for playing and stuff. So it, like, a lot of this comes about like in middle schools and high schools, where like a lot of, you know, young boys and girls are together and talking about those things all the time. So like, there's so many things to talk about with just this one game, because it is so huge right now. Like, it's bringing out all sorts of like cool conversations like this, and these articles are so cool to me.
It's like the best way to census a video game community, because when so many people are playing your game and they're all so open about it, you can get a real good sense of demographic that way. You know, Nintendo tried to do it with the Switch, and it's fine, but like not everybody owns a Switch, but like a lot of people play Fortnite, so you can see like what are the breakdowns by demographic on different platforms. How are people, you know, assessing it? How are they using it to communicate with others? I think it's cool. I think this is really good for research purposes, and I think it's going to elucidate a lot of the things that we've kind of taken as givens the last few decades, and hopefully leads to some cool changes in the perception, the community perception of video games in the general public eye. So
I hope that it gets more girls to play video games. I hope that this is like a push for people to realize that like girls can play too.
There was also I think a story on Kotaku or Waypoint, I can't remember where it was, where it talked a lot about why aren't there like too many black people that are pro gamers, and like a lot of that has to do with like black people play games, but like a lot of pro gamers play PC games, like specifically, and PC is like the baseline for how that works, and PC gaming is expensive, like more so than console gaming. For sure. It's way more complicated. It's a lot like more things to do, and like the way like social stigmas have worked around like women and minorities throughout this time is like that tech stuff is for like nerdy white dudes. Like that is not for other people, and therefore, like even if you do have a small interest in something, like if you're interested in reading, it's a lot less like hard or a lot less arduous to go to the library and get a book. If you're interested in gaming, it's like pretty hard to convince your parents to spend $1,000 on a computer so that you can like start doing that. So like
especially for lower income people, for women, for for anyone who like isn't willing to like buy those specific consoles or like those PCs and like all of those games that are $60. Like Fortnite is different because now it's on mobile. Like almost everyone that can afford it has a phone, and like Fortnite
some of the
is
batteries
free
are
for everyone.
better than others.
You're right.
That's really wild. Like thinking about all the time I've spent playing games, I've run into, you know, black guys, I've run into women, and I've never ever once run into a black woman playing games. That's like crazy for me to think about.
Well, I mean,
like
you come
ever.
from...
I've played games for like 7 or 8 years on PC.
I mean, I know
PS4.
some in the community that I'm in also.
That's great.
You know,
I mean, but like what I'm saying, and
it's-
that's totally makes sense. As I was thinking about it today, like
you're not wrong. Like,
and that's just the demographic, and I think it is just like a cultural eye thing. Like you grow up thinking that like these things you're allowed or you're expected to be interested in, and these things you're not, and those things are for this other group of people, and it's weird, and you'll kind of be ostracized if you're interested in it, and that sucks. But I really do think that it's like from adolescence up, you are just exposed to these, driving forces that push you into these little pigeonholes that society kind of, and this is getting super third grade fucking sociology. But, so that's I've never thought about that, and that's crazy to me. So yeah, I think this will hopefully bring that stuff to light and fix a lot of these problems in the gaming sphere.
And that, and
just the one thing I'd like to ask in the article that you shared, Cheyenne, is that where you're saying like the stigmas and everything, that it's guys play games, girls don't, whatever. Okay, as a community, like I know we don't do it, but as a community of people that do play a lot of games, we need to like you said, we need to embrace this and kind of push this forward. We need to stop, like, everyone's out there, like that article they were showing, they just call them fake gamer girls and all this stuff. Like, that's not true. Like, it's accessible to them now. Yeah. And maybe through playing Fortnite on their phone, they do get a console and they do start playing more. Like, we shouldn't, push anybody out. So, like, as a community, it's very important that we, like, embrace this because, like, this could be, like you said, just kind of like a step towards, like, a big change from what it has been for years.
That's what I hope. And, like, though I haven't experienced, like, a ton of pushback for being interested in video games, I know that, like, the video game community as a whole is not welcoming to anyone that isn't, like, a white male, usually. So, but I do want to shout out the community that I have, been in. Like, we're at least 50% women. We have people of color. Like, it has been the most welcoming community online that I have ever been in, and it's been amazing. Like, because you can't always reach out to people in real life that are gonna have your same interests. Like, not just with, like, Fortnite, but, like, any games, like, being able to be in a community like that is amazing.
It's cool. Multicultural stuff is cool.
Did you say my dick?
You did say my dick.
I didn't.
Cool, my dick.
What the fuck? My dick is also like.
You got your dick on your mind.
My brain got jumbled and then my dick came out. I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes you're
It
rapping
happens to the
along,
best
man,
of us,
you know?
dude.
Yeah, dude.
It is cool, and hopefully Fortnite is another stride in that thing. This is also like completely separate, not connected, but separate topic. This is why representation in games is like important and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, because I'm a white guy and I choose when to end these conversations, we're gonna go into the next topic, which is the check out this story. So IGN did a list because lists are fun, and people that like shit on BuzzFeed and the internet in general for having lists can suck a cock, dude. I'm gonna start throwing gendered insults out here at these fucking people because they suck. Because lists are cool. Lists are easy to understand information. You don't make a grocery paragraph, okay? You make a grocery fucking list. Because it's what you want. Alright, so IGN put out a list of the 100 games of all time. Some interesting choices on there. They ranked Super Mario World as the #1 game of all time in their list. And they said at the beginning of it, Jesus Christ, can this fucking load? That the criteria for the list was twofold. It said, how did this game affect us personally, as well as the industry as a whole when it came out? So basically, it's the two common things that, like, a lot of people say. It's like, well, this is my favorite artist, but, like, if I'm looking at everything, like, this is what... So it's, like, a combination of those two things. And what I wanted to do is have us each point out a game we thought was either ranked too high or too low or something like that. And we can talk about that going on. So I'll start. I'm usually the one that finishes these topics, but I'll start right here. I thought Metal Gear Solid 3, they have at 21. That is ranked as the highest Metal Gear game they have on there, which is bullshit because it is the third best Metal Gear game. And Metal Gear 5 should be on the list. And it's maybe better than Metal Gear 3. I don't know. The story's not as good, but like it's gameplay wise is the best in the series, and it's so much fun. Also, Metal Gear 1 should obviously be way higher than Metal Gear 3. Metal Gear 3 is, like, way overhyped. It does way too... It bogs itself down with systems where, like, you're fucking... Like, you have rations and stuff, but then the rations get eaten by bugs and shit like that, and it's all, like, too cumbersome. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. And big Metal Gear 3 fans, we'd have Cody on the show.
I've not played any of them except for 5.
Either.
Well, never mind then. Other one I thought, Fallout 3 is way too low. It's 63. That game, I would say, is if not one of the major games that launched the open world like revolution, I would say. Like with
Yeah, but New Vegas is like better.
But like the game it's how did this game impact us personally is part of it, but as well as the industry as a whole when it came out. And I would say Fallout 3, like Skyrim or not Skyrim, Oblivion came out before that, and there's like some other like cool things Bethesda was doing, and also like there are open world games before that. Don't get me wrong, but Fallout 3 is the first game where I played it and I was like, I can go fucking anywhere, and like I feel like that is the case for like a lot of people with Fallout. I don't know. Anybody think I'm dumb?
No, I think that Fallout 3 should be higher,
Yeah.
but you know,
I don't know.
and I
Anybody
agree
else?
that I think it was.
I'll hop in. Too high. I'm gonna go with Portal 2 here. It's at 11. Like, come on, dude. You've already got Portal at number 3. Portal 2 is worse than Portal 1.
Well, look who put that in there, though. You know what I'm saying?
Does it
Look who put that in
include
there.
the co-op though? Because I think the co-op.
Jared Petty, this
is-
fucking hack. I hate this motherfucker.
Oh,
I'm calling you out, Jared.
It doesn't even work in IGN anymore.
Motherfucker. I
That's
don't
funny.
care. I was just
But
talking
he still
shit
got
about
it.
Jared
Still got his
today.
game on the
He
list.
wrote
You
the
were just
blurb.
talking
You
about him.
fucker. Anyways, Portal 2 is narratively kind of a mess. It's very. The fact that they use white space to tell you where to put portals constantly, like really diminishes the feeling of accomplishment you get from solving the puzzles. It's just not as tight or focused as the first game. I like it a lot. I think it's a great game, but being number 11 on this list is just way too high. Does it belong on here? Yeah, but not in the fucking top 15. That's crazy. Number too low. I think Doom is at.
This is the OG Doom.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Doom is
Doom
like
is
way
at
up there.
motherfucking.
19.
Where is it?
19.
Is it a 19? That's
It's like-
too low.
It's
That
still,
should be
it's
in the
still,
top 10.
yeah, it's
Because Doom, if we're talking about influence on the gaming industry, Doom is like possibly one of the top 3 because it fucking launched the first person wave, and we are seeing those games all the time. It's probably one of the most popular genres of game, perspective wise. And so Doom, like, yeah, no shit. Like, that game is hugely influential. Like, and you're gonna put that behind things like
Portal 2.
fucking Portal 2.
Oh.
Fucking Halo. You're putting Halo above Doom in a list about not only quality but also like influence on the industry. That's fucking absurd to me. So yeah, I think Doom
Is Halo the
way
only
too
first-person shooter? Oh, my thing's loading.
low. Half-Life 2 is on number 8.
There's also the original Half-Life
Portal
at
is a
some point.
first-person game.
I was saying above Doom.
Oh,
Because Halo, I would say, did what Doom did for the first-person shooter genre for the first-person
For
shooter.
consoles.
For console, but like
I agree.
it still should be higher because it didn't you know what I'm saying.
It didn't invent the fucking thing.
I also
like,
the other point, I think Halo is just a better game than Doom too. Like
you what?
I think the first Halo is better than Doom. Like personally,
I think like that's an opinion like that is fair because I really like Halo, but I think I like playing Doom and I like playing Doom likes and mods more than Halo. I don't know. It changes day to day for me. That's kind of irrelevant in like the scheme of like this is like a really big milestone. That's why I think it needs to be higher.
what about for you? What about for you, Drew?
I mean, you guys actually hit on a lot of them that I was already going to talk about. I think that Doom, obviously, like David said, needs to be moved up. I think that also the original Legend of Zelda should not be number 35.
It should be higher. Or
Is it
lower?
number 35?
It's 35. The OG Zelda is number 35.
Jesus Christ.
Like, what blows my mind is like where the ranking system goes based on, like you said, what was it? The two criteria was like the impact on them and the impact on games industry.
Yeah.
It's a
Like-
mix of the like personal versus the like just general thing.
35.
There are
Come
better
on.
Are
Zelda
you saying
games.
for clarification? Are you saying it should be higher or lower?
It should be higher.
Yeah, I agree.
So I have a fun
Hold
one.
on, hold on, one second, again.
Breath of the Wild.
I was
Breath
also
of the
going to
Wild
talk
is
about
higher.
Zelda.
Clarification: should it be higher, like numerically, or higher up? Like, should it be better or worse
Jesus
on the
Christ,
list?
does that need to be?
It could switch with Breath of the Wild.
Okay, so
Where
it should
is
be
Breath
worse.
of the Wild?
It should be worse
See-
on the list.
26.
I
Which one?
want to.
Oh, it should be
I want
better
to
on the
step
list.
in real quick.
Yeah, the Breath of the Wild's at 26.
I'm sorry, I'm very
Yeah.
confused.
No, it's okay. I want to step in real quick because I think that actually Breath of the Wild and Majora's Mask should be switched, in my opinion. because
Which one is
Breath
higher?
of the
'Cause
Wild
I
is
have
at
to-
26.
Majora's
Majora's Mask
Mask
is at 52. And I think Majora's Mask was
Oh,
a
yeah.
much more interesting and like unique take on like a narrative structure. And like Breath of the Wild was great, but it's just an open world version of Zelda.
Far more
That
unique
is
as far as
how
Zelda
I
goes.
feel.
I don't think unique is the right term to use.
Okay,
in this
how
argument.
about this? We email IG and we tell them you got too many fucking Zelda games on your list.
I was
alright?
actually-
Zelda's
okay,
good and all,
Thank
you.
but like
Is my
they
entire
have like
thing?
almost every Zelda game on there.
I was about to say,
figured you would.
does
Zelda
my
2
entire
is not on here, right?
huh?
Is Zelda 2
Console Zelda games are on here. All of
like
them.
Zelda
almost.
2, like where it's fucking like a side scroller.
No, that was not.
You have Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, the original
Wind
Legend of
Waker.
Zelda, and then
Wind
there's
Waker.
Okay,
Wind
the whole
Waker.
thing I was gonna
It's
do,
not
I'm just gonna
Zelda
do
2.
it before we fucking gloss
Do it.
over it. Was
Yeah.
Wind Waker? Does that even deserve a place on this list? Because like,
Art style.
No. I was saying Wind Waker shouldn't even be on here.
right? Because it does what Breath of the as far as like impact the industry. Actually, you know what? I think it should be almost on here before Breath of the Wild because like, if the reason you've got Breath of the Wild on here is what it did for open world gaming, to some degree, Wind Waker did that before Breath of the Wild did. Like, obviously not to the same scale or to it didn't accomplish it as well, but like. As far as open world games go, like everything is open world now, and Wind Waker did that really well for its time. So I think it deserves a place on the list. I don't know that we need so many different Zelda titles on the list. I agree that the original Zelda should be higher, but I do not agree that Majora's Mask should be higher than Breath of the Wild.
I do.
Yeah.
That does not make sense
I'm
to me.
also-
at all.
I like it better.
I'm also looking at this as Super Mario 64 is way too high.
Also, that was my other thing.
No.
If I had to pick something,
That
was
is
like
the game that pioneered 3D platform.
Yeah,
3D
but,
games
like,
in general.
that's which came out first, Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. I do not recall.
Mario 64.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
That
That
was
was like
the-
one of the first
that
3D.
was, like,
I mean, that's why I asked a question. I don't
launch
remember.
window 64 title.
You crazy.
Crazy.
I don't know, like but it's just not. Like you can have the influence as well. I think it should be on the list, but like it's also not that great. Is the thing.
You're fucking high.
No, it's where it should be. I think maybe even higher.
You're out. of your fucking
But
mind.
let
It
us
can
all
be in
remember.
the 30s.
But what I'm
but-
asking though about Wind Waker is like, I can't decide if it should be lower on the list or higher because like, I understand that it had an impact as far as like open world gaming, but
You're
like,
just saying there's too much Zelda altogether.
right? I don't know if it should be
There
above
is.
other Zelda titles that are already on the list.
I would
I agree with that.
I would agree with
I don't even think it should be on here, but
But I
I-
think I don't know. I think it did what Breath of the Wild did before Breath of the Wild came around. So in that sense, it has more of an impact than Breath of the Wild does.
I don't think I disagree.
Also-
'Cause, like the
also-
exploration Wind Waker is so stunted. Like
No,
like
but it was
tiny.
it was like the conception of that idea that Zelda should be this like open explorative, like it's about the discovery instead
the
of
first Zelda did that then.
Yeah, and that's why it should be.
okay. That's
the
what I'm
highest of all
asking you though.
Zeldas.
Is like, do we need all these different Zeldas on here, like Breath of the Wild, the original
Oh, no.
Zelda, Wind Waker, when they all
No.
kind of did the same thing for the industry in some sense?
Well, it's probably not what the arguments are in the blurbs. I doubt they're all saying this pioneered the exploration genre. Like they probably all have strengths, but I don't think they should all be.
Like,
on
it's the classic debate of like if a game's sequel, like the original game had fantastic ideas, revolutionized, but the sequel nailed down those ideas and like really built upon them, like
Yeah.
and made it
Yeah.
more enjoyable.
Of
which is more
those-
important.
Of those Zelda titles, though, if I had to pick one to not be on the list, it would be Wind Waker, just because, like, aside from the like open world sailing like of the ocean, it didn't really do anything crazy as far as changing the Zelda like formula.
I would.
Also, I want to bring this up too. I understand it's like half and half with like how they pick these. If there's any sort of influence from Breath of the Wild, it's yet to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a
Like,
new enough game.
It's only been out for a year, but yeah, but we're talking about like look at this entire list. Most of these games have been out for at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That have pioneered other things to mimic them or use mechanics from those games. Like Zelda's been out for a year. It's like no one's
But like
put anything out
I
that's
think
like that.
A lot of people would say like even though we haven't seen it yet, it's like pretty obvious that a lot of games are going to be copying the Breath of the Wild like emergent gameplay like fucking thing where like you can create your own kind of like things as as like you go through the world, where the random things just are popping up and allow you to tell your own story outside of the main quest or outside of the side quest or something like that. The same thing I would say, not that same reasoning, but the same thing. Like The Witcher's only 2 years old, but like open world games are now like compared to how good is it to The Witcher. Like whenever a new like open world RPG comes out, like Fallout 4 got fucked because everybody's like, but it ain't The Witcher, man. Like that was like why.
Yeah.
In that vein, too, like, I'm surprised we didn't see at least one of the Battle Royale games on here, you know what I mean? Because, like, it's, like, kind of a big deal now.
Honestly, I would have put Fortnite on here at somewhere.
They do say...
Or even, like, Arma 2 or fucking DayZ or one of the, like...
The criteria of the list, they say all the games have to be released before December 31st, 2017, and I'm not sure how they count, like, with...
Released...
with early access. Yeah.
Well, and the Battle Royale started as like a mod to another game, and like that base game does not deserve a place on the list. So, like, I guess that makes sense.
I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting list. Lists are cool. Fuck people that hate lists. It bothers me. Drew, you're gonna do games of the week, and then you're gonna get your phone charger, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tell us, Drew, for the next segment, what games are coming out this week?
Yeah, no intro song?
Boom, 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 boom. Games out this week. I'ma beat my meat. No. Oh God, no.
Dude, I'm the theme song guy.
Why do you always go there?
Your intro song.
I don't have a lot of
list
things to rap
games
about
I have
besides
coming
my
out
dick.
next week.
I'm like Louis C.K. doing stand up over here.
Oh,
that
right,
joke's
moving
too
on.
far. Fuck you people.
Hey, look, man,
Gross.
just stop, all right? Just stop. Okay, not a lot coming out this week that I considered. At first, I thought Dead Pillars 2, which is not a DLC, might I add, Charles. You said that was
I
what
thought
that
it
was
was a DLC
last
for
week. It is
Call of
not.
Duty.
It is not. It is the second one.
Really?
But it was supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out this week, but it got pushed back to May. So we'll talk about that then.
Oh, it did get put back to me. All right, this is good, dude. I'm like fucking rolling in it, man. I'm like a white guy. I only fail up. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck are you rolling in?
Huh? I said we weren't gonna do this for the Metacritic game because I was wrong, and then it turns out it got delayed till the next month, so it still works for the Metacritic game.
Anyways, on April 3rd, we are going to get the Adventure Pals, which, if you don't know what that is a smaller indie game that I don't know how to really describe it. Has anyone else seen this?
No,
I sent you a
I watched
picture.
it this morning and I was like, this looks fun. I really like the art style.
It's the art style is really nice, like cute, and then like it's co-op. You can play together. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like Castle Crashers.
Yeah, I was gonna
don't
say
know
it
if
does
anybody's
look like,
actually working on it.
It looks
from
a
that.
lot like a Behemoth game.
Yeah, it does look like a Behemoth game. But so that comes out April 3rd. I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm actually probably going to be playing that with my girlfriend, who plays games. Isn't that cool?
Wow,
That must
that's
be
dope.
great.
I know, and I'm embracing it. I'm like, come on, be a
Play
gamer
Fortnite
girl
on mobile with
Be
me.
a kid now.
Play
be a
Fortnite with me.
Dude.
And then also on April 3rd, published by Devolver Digital.
Bow, bow, bow.
Minute is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, which is a game where you have 60 seconds to play each time, and you can progress the story that way through collecting items, finishing secret side quests in general, defeating bosses. There was a game on, I believe, the PSP that used a similar mechanic. It was called Half Second Hero, I think it was. You started at 30 seconds. You could end up getting more time from a time goddess. I don't think it's going into all that. I think you get 60
No
seconds.
time goddesses in this game.
Shut the fuck up. You don't get any time goddess,
Damn.
okay? And it's like black and white. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, check it
I really
out.
like the way it looks. I'm really excited.
I like
the
it too.
soundtrack sounds really
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah, all
I almost
things
bought
are.
the plushie because it comes with the game.
The plushie is cute too. So although not a lot of games, I got one more, but not a lot of games. 2 games looking like pretty big hits here. And then also, if you're a fan of Trials Fusion, which I know so many of you are,
Oh yeah.
Urban
those
Trial
games on
Playground
PS4?
is coming out. Trials Fusion.
Yeah, like the OG ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know about the OG one.
The
I think
OG one
Fusion
was
is
my
like
shit.
the newest one. Like not the newest one, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Urban Trial Playground is coming to the Switch, which it looks to be like the same type of gameplay, motorcycles, courses, whatever. I didn't see it coming out on anything else, but I could be wrong, so I'm just gonna say Switch right now. I know for a fact it's coming out on the Switch on April 5th, so Other than that, yeah, like I said, pretty light for games that may or may not be good this week.
Yeah, these in the dock here, like as like for like April 5th
Yeah.
at 4.5. That's much better way to write it. But I thought you were rating them all, and I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn.
This is a
I actually have
4.5.
played all these
Taking the
games
piss
already.
out
This
of
one's a
these fucking
4.5. No, they're out of 5.
Okay.
It's out of 5.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Great
Urban
score.
Trial Playground, very good.
Well,
Well, it's because
reason
every
you
time
range your scores out of 5, but still put it on like a 50 point or 100 point scale. That's weird.
Well, I was doing the slash and it just kept making it small, and I was tired, so I didn't feel like.
It
Oh,
made
like
it into
4 I
was like-
fractions.
Yeah.
Yeah, for fractions, I was like,
Frog Fractions 3 coming out this week.
All right, you gonna go get that
Yeah,
charger.
Drew's gonna get that charger, and while he does, I'm gonna intro the Metacritic game. Do you want to do a rap, David?
What?
Do you want to rap about the Metacritic game? It was a joke. You
Do
don't.
I want
Try
to
not to
fucking
say the
rap?
N-word.
You
Yeah.
don't.
Oh, let me do my
I know
best.
it's
You
gonna be
don't.
hard.
I know you don't. So if you don't know, the Metacritic game is a game we play every month where we predict games that are coming out that month's Metacritic scores. It's a game we like to say we're all playing, but really we're playing a game that Drew has devised, in which he just destroys us all.
It's the
So
game where we just lose to Drew.
last month,
As
in March,
You got that right. I heard that. Thank you.
last month in March, the totals were that Drew won 3, David won 1, Aaron won 1, and Cheyenne won 1. Is that what it was? Yeah. So Kirby Star
yeah,
Allies.
I got one.
Kirby Star Allies. Drew was 5 points off. Sea of Thieves. Cheyenne was 3 points off. A Way Out. David nailed it. Perfect score. Did he have a bias because he was reviewing the game? Possibly. Who knows? Did he
No, this
cheat?
was way before that.
Did he cheat?
I gave the game a 6.
Who knows?
so
I know
that's-
because you were trying to lower it down. It was at an 85. You had to take it down.
That's right.
Detective Pikachu. Drew and Aaron both guessed 5 off, but Drew wins because he's lower because we do Prices Right rules. Because Price is Right's awesome, man. Nino Kuni. Aaron was 1 point off with an 87. And then Far Cry 5, Drew was 1 point off with an 82. So that is that. That is how last month shook out. So we're going to start with this month of April 2018. And there's not too many games coming out this month, so we're just going to start with God of War. I think I'm going to have to start with Aaron. What do you think, God of War?
94.
Oh,
Damn, he
shit.
yelled that really hard.
Okay.
Can you write them down, Drew, when he says them?
Already on it.
Alright, cool. So yeah, let's just start. Drew, what are you giving the old God of War?
90.
90. How about
A flat 90.
How about Mr. Morgan?
88.
88.
Fuck. That's
Realistically, it's
Holy
going to be
Holy
80s, but I
fucking
want it
shit,
to be
88.
90.
Oh my god, that's what I was gonna say. Well, I'll go
Cheyenne.
89 then.
Fuck you. That's bullshit. This
I
is
was
Price
gonna
is
go
Right.
80.
Yeah, welcome Price is Right,
Right.
motherfucker. She's going to outbid you.
They go. I'm doing them like you're gonna. She's gonna
Yeah,
go
you would
first one round
win.
too. I'm gonna go a little lower and say 82. I think
well,
this
you're
game
wrong,
is
so have fun
previewing.
losing
No,
that
that's
one.
definitely going to be the 80s, but I want it to be a 94.
This game is previewing too well, and David's phone shut off.
David said, I'm done
It's
with this bullshit,
dead.
dude.
Your
Sorry.
phone
It's
died.
dead.
She took the charger. It died.
It died and did
Your-
die.
Your
No,
phone needs the
doesn't
charger to
charge.
be active.
It doesn't charge when Skype is open. It
No,
drains
you're
the
right.
battery
It's at an
faster
equilibrium.
Than it's
Oh,
charging.
You're right.
What kind of fucking phones do you guys have?
An
old
iPhone
one.
6.
David,
and apparently,
after the stream,
Alright,
you guys give me your address. I'm gonna mail you some
I'll buy one
chargers.
right now.
Please.
Yeah, I'll buy you a
fucking- I
This
have,
hurts, Evan.
like
I'll mail you some
$6 to
charges.
my name. I can't afford a fucking iPhone charger.
That's why I'll send you
I gotta
one.
send this shit on-
I got like 5. I got like 5.
Your birthday's before mine, right, David? It's like October or something?
So for your birthday, I'm gonna get
I'm
you an
ordering it
iPhone
My birthday's
charger.
in April, if that helps.
All right, so
Oh my-
everybody
keep
get
vamping-
Cheyenne
keep
like
vamping
8
while I fix
chargers.
this. Keep vamping while I fix this.
What are
I'm
you
gonna-
fixing?
Do you want me?
I feel like we were doing fine until you told everybody to start
Cheyenne,
talking.
Order me.
Yeah, we did.
I will do this later.
Order it. Please.
Do you want me to give him the charger, or do you want him to just not exist?
Don't fix it.
It's fine.
Okay.
Just-
All
it's
right.
fine.
I mean, we still got voice, CJ. Let's keep this going.
Next
man.
week's episode, the gang
but I'm
buys Cheyenne a
fixing the
charger
video.
for her birthday.
Yeah, you could fix the video in post. So
I can't
Nintendo
do it in
Labo.
post at all. Like that's not how it
Nintendo
works at all.
Labo.
No, we're
Nintendo
not-
corner right
you
here,
can
Just
Drew.
put a
I can
picture of
finally
David
see
there.
Drew, are we gonna get a Labo
That's
for?
not how it works at all, Drew.
Yeah, no, I have one pre-ordered.
Oh, sick, dude. That means we're gonna be doing Labo stuff.
Ooh.
Did you get the
Labo.
fucking robot suit?
I-
Am I gonna get to
I'm,
punch you in
I'm,
the dick?
I'm
while
getting the. Yes, I'm getting the robot one, and to my knowledge, I think my mom is getting my little sister
Oh my God.
the kit. So, which means I can take it all. It's
Dude,
online.
we should have your little brother on. Me, you, and your brother should do
Let's
a
not.
lab. That'd be fun,
You
dude.
say we did.
Damn.
3 people we saw don't fit in this room very well.
That's very true. It is hard to get more than 2 people in that room.
I mean, he can sit on my lap.
I mean, that'd be difficult if we're doing labo because you gotta
You could
be
sit on my
active,
lap.
you know.
There you go.
I mean,
But we're not all active. We can make a band.
What?
all right.
It's a band.
We're
What
just
the
gonna
fuck
stream
are you
Rock
talking
Band. The
about?
show
Dude,
is
I'll
just gonna
stream
be-
some
that.
motherfucking Rock
You should
Band.
do that.
You wanna
get
stream Rock Band?
copyrighted.
I'm down. We'll do that tomorrow.
But only if you use the paintbrush
Alright,
drumsticks.
so this
Oh
is
my
the
god,
podcast
dude! I
we're working
forgot
with.
about that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
So
times.
next game, Nintendo Labo. Well, what do you? Well, I'm gonna say. So again, I wrote my scores down beforehand. An 85.
Mm-hmm.
85.
Okay.
So Cheyenne, what are you thinking?
An 80, I guess. I didn't know these were getting like Metacritic scores.
I
they're
assume they will.
sending out
Probably.
review stuff.
They're like
David, what do you
hardcore.
think?
76.
76.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, what do you think? I'm gonna go with a 78.
Oh, you son of a bitch! I wanted to
And
do this
Aaron?
to make David mad.
that's
70. 79.
7.
What the fuck?
What are you?
It's gonna be a
77.
79.
Oh,
All right.
ASMR.
And then
Stop. Please.
you having fun taking pictures there? You're not helping.
I'm taking a
not
picture of
helping.
what this looks like to shame David for not buying a fucking phone charger.
All right. And then
Next story.
so let's go.
Galgun 2. This, if you
Next-
don't know, great
not a
feminist
story.
game. Great, really,
That's not a
really,
story.
really a tale as old as time. Some would say, and the way women relate to the world. So I'm gonna start this one off with Cheyenne. What did you think?
I don't know what the fuck it is. Give me a sec.
You should have looked. These have
start
been
with
in
the-
there since.
I
Tuesday.
didn't know what games we were doing.
They've been in there since Tuesday. You had time.
I don't check. You have like 6 different pages. I'm not checking all of
There's
them.
not
Come on.
6 different pages. What are you talking about?
There's,
I mean,
you got
there's
the
literally
sheets
7
oh,
for the
this looks-
podcast
This
alone.
looks awful. This looks fucking awful.
There is not 7 pages for the podcast. What
Okay,
the
you
fuck
got
are
the
talking
sheets for the Metacritic shit. You've got the run of show for the stories that we have. You've got a whole
Don't tell
folder
people our
full of I
secrets.
don't know.
Oh
There's
my
a
God.
list
Don't
of
tell people our
there's a
secrets.
bunch of
There are 2
checklist shit.
about? There are 2
Anyway,
things, and one of them
this
only
looks
happens
like
once a month.
absolute fucking garbage. So I'm gonna give it a fucking 60.
A 60?
60.
I hope it gets a fucking
David.
I forgot David was here.
Yeah,
He's not
dude.
on screen.
55. This looks like trash.
Yeah.
And do you
This
want better?
fucking
I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a
ripped.
50.
Honestly, yeah. It should
Aaron?
have gone lower.
I'm gonna say
80.
45 or something like that.
40.
Yeah, I gave it too high of a score.
CJ, what do you think?
I wanted to say 69. But there's no real reason for me to say that, so I'll just say 63.
I can't wait to lose this. I'm gonna be so off.
63.
What
And
the fuck
then-
is
And the last
this?
game for the week, the Swords of Ditto. We're gonna start that one off with Drew.
What about all the other games that we were just talking about?
What other game?
What the
Isn't-
fuck is this panty shot fucking
Isn't
invisible?
Well, I guess like the
Loads.
Adventure Pals is
99.
Minute.
The
What
game
about
wins.
Minute and Adventure Pals?
I mean, yeah, we could add those. I
We
don't
should
care.
at least have Minute.
Okay.
All right,
That's
I
true.
didn't.
That's-
Dude, I've been
that's-
asking people all week what games should be.
I
on
don't
here.
know any of these games.
Okay,
so
well,
Anyways,
you're
I actually have
Swords
to-
of Ditto.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm gonna go with a
Start with David. on that one.
86. That game looks really good.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
really excited.
Very
I hope it
excited.
handles it. As long as its core gameplay loop is solid, it looks like a ton of fun.
Drew, what do you think?
I'm actually gonna go with. I agree. It looks like a lot of fun. Hopefully, it doesn't fall like into a trap of being like too similar to some other games.
Yep.
Do some different stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it an 80. Aaron.
Cool.
I'm gonna give it an 87. That's a good score.
Oh my god.
CJ, what do you got?
I just trying to be different than everybody. I want to go 74. So.
87.
Senator.
The price is
That's-
right.
that's a
He
good score.
stopped.
This is so
all of
annoying.
you. I
Bob
don't
Barker
have
Blast.
Yeti, so I
You know what else is
can't-
annoying? Your
what-
fucking phone
Shame
dying,
you.
David. That's annoying.
Anyway, 81.
81. And then we just talked about
Minute.
game
Drew started off.
Minute. Stop being in my square, Cheyenne. Or whoever's pink.
I was gonna. Oh,
CJ,
I don't
get
know.
out of my
I
square.
don't have that open.
Yeah, that's a good point.
many pages.
Minute. I think Minute. Let's An 82 for minute. I think it'll be pretty good. Pretty solid.
Oh, you know what? I think I got my games mixed up.
Hey, Bron.
I'm gonna give it a 79.
Chucky B.
Chucky B is not feeling minute. Chucky B.
Chucky B is to stop calling himself Chucky fucking B.
going for a 71 on minute.
All right, thank you, Banana Boat Willie. Cheyenne?
Well, I guess I'll be the one that gives it a higher score, and I'll say a good old 84.
An 84?
And I'm just gonna go with a flat 80.
Flat 80.
I was
All
also
right.
Cool.
That,
So
but
that
I'll
that
be
is the Metacritic prediction game for the
Minute
week.
Critic.
Okay.
The Minute Critic.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the classic segment of what we've been playing this week. And this week we're starting off with Mr. David Morgan, who's been
Dude, we
playing-
gotta stop with this stupid shit. I'm getting mad. That fucking tone that Aaron has insidiously injected into this fucking
You, Aaron.
fun, not
ever. Creepy fucking annoying shit. Stop it. I've been playing Synthetic. It's an absolutely fantastic roguelite twin stick shooter, which sounds
still-
incredibly generic, but is actually a lot of fun. And I will break it down. It is a game that does not have pixel graphics. Huge plus. So the graphics are very clean. They kind of remind me. Did you guys ever see like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy? Like the way that it's like kind of like
Yeah,
assets
I
that
saw
are,
that.
are pasted onto the world. It's kind of like that. So it has that like kind of flat, really crisp, colorful art style, which I like a lot because it's got that whole futuristic vibe. So that's nice. And the style of the game, like the UI, when enemies die, this huge like red X slaps down on where their corpse would be, and they splatter like oil or whatever their insides are made of all over the ground. It's really cool. It feels really visceral, which I know CJ loves that word. But some of the things that really set it apart are there are like difficulty modifiers that affect how much XP you get from a run. There's over 1,000 combinations of those. Some of them include like critical strike chance on yourself, the need to eject a magazine using E and then reload your gun using R or space separately, which I actually use and I think it feels really good. It has like an active reload system. There's tons of weapons. They all feel really good to use. Tons of really cool power-ups, and it has co-op, so it has online co-op, which is super functional. There's a bunch of like community management stuff in this game. There's like a Discord and a Reddit on the front page of the launcher. There's a global chat, and it tells you whenever somebody's hosting a lobby, which is really nice. And the devs seem very intent on improving the game for the player base. They have surveys out on what you think of the gameplay. It feels like they're trying to like craft it, and goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like an early access game. But it came out, it's released, and it's feature complete, but they are still supporting it heavily, which I really, really like. Would highly recommend it to somebody who likes twin stick shooters or roguelites, challenging games. It's very hard, but once you learn its systems, it is much more manageable, and I am absolutely crazy about it. I'll be putting up some gameplay on the channel this week. Yeah, so that's Synthetic. It's very good. CJ hates the name, but it's a great game.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the name. Well, I'm not. I don't care. The word
C with
synthetic
a
is
K.
fine. It's the spelling of it that is SYNTHETIK. That is.
It's just the word synthetic,
So, you know, they
but
don't-
with a
they're
K
not fucking
instead
around.
of a C.
Ew. Ugh.
They
It's a really good
insidiously injected a K at the end of that, you know?
How
Yeah.
could they?
That brings us to the next game, which is Far Cry 5, which I know Cheyenne and David have been playing a little bit, and Drew started.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did.
Take it away.
And
Now
it's
talk about that.
friggin'
Okay,
great.
so Far Cry 5. I've played maybe 5 hours of Far Cry 5, and I think it's fun. I think it's, I know, David, you talked about it last week. I think that it takes a lot of the best bits of Far Cry and kind of puts them all together. The only thing is like, I know it's like other Far Cries have had like fucked up moments, and I understand that like it's not taking itself super seriously, but like some of the things that happen, I'm just like, maybe I should feel something about that, but because it's Far Cry, I just don't. I'm just like, meh, all right, you know.
See,
So-
I feel the opposite. I think the tone of the game is handled really well, and I think it balances its kind of macabre moments with its humor
Mm-hmm.
in a way that makes the set pieces of the villains and their writing feel more impactful. They're not like the most dramatic and emotional things I've ever seen in a game, obviously, but
Right.
I never had a moment where I was like, oh, am I supposed to feel like... I can think of maybe one, which you can see coming from a mile away if you've played a video game before, and I was like, okay, well, but I really like the way it handled it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I don't want to spoil anything, but it has something to do with like Pavlovian conditioning. I thought that was really, really cool, and I was mostly just in awe of how clever the game was, and I saw it coming, but it was still a very cool design choice.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a spoiler cast or something later, and I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying. It is Far Cry, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which can end up shooting in the foot a little bit when it comes to its narrative.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
Cheyenne. Yeah, what do you think?
I will just play the heck out of it. Like, I don't really expect it to have like a super powerful narrative or anything. Like, I'm kind of playing it as like a GTA 5 kind of thing where I just go around doing whatever I want and doing all the quests, getting all the regions finished. It's just a fun like binge game where I can just play it for hours and do the stuff. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I don't have any huge complaints with it as of right now.
Yeah, that was my problem, is I didn't have enough complaints to kind of warrant giving it an 8, as I was originally kind of planning on, and I went back and was like, well, I mean, the game doesn't blow my mind, but it's super competent. Like, it's probably the best Far Cry, in my opinion, if you're not sick of them, which some people are, and I totally get that.
Yeah. I can see that.
But it just as a whole, I think it's if you had never played a Far Cry game and this came out today, people would be like, oh my god, this is fucking incredible. It's just because we've seen the iterations that the seams kind of show, but I still think that this game is by far the best Far Cry game that is released as a
Having a
package.
fun time with it, and I think that's all that matters to me, is as long as I'm having a good time, then it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Next was Drew. You played a little game called The Old Man's Journey, where it's about a sea shanty pirate. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, that's not what it's about.
All right, whatever.
You you even know games?
I know, man. I'm a fake gamer boy.
Fake gamer boy here.
Gamer boy.
Give me that mouse back. Old Man's Journey. It's just a little indie game on the Switch. Might be out on other stuff, but like I played it on the Switch. It's narrative driven. The puzzles are very, very simple. It's like an hour and a half long. Pretty much, this old man gets a letter, and he goes on a journey, right? As the title suggests. And like the description's like, experience, love, loss, and life. So it's very simple if you don't have a lot of time. Actually, it might be on like mobile too. But if you don't have you want just something quick to play, it's fine. Wasn't blown away. I've seen this type of stuff before, played something similar. So you can kind of see where the story goes. I was hoping there might be like a twist, but there wasn't. But I mean, I don't know what else I was supposed to really expect out of that. So that's about it.
We've also been, you and I, streaming
Charles,
A Way Out.
you and I played A Way Out.
Yeah, what are we?
Did you finish it?
No, not yet. We got to
We have not.
light spoilers for what's going on in A Way Out. We're at a movie theater. We just got to, and we just bought some guns from this woman that then turned us into Harvey Dent. I don't really know his name, but I keep referring to him as that on stream.
Yeah.
No, you don't. We do it all the fucking time.
What do you mean? I keep referring to him as that on stream.
I thought you said I hate it.
No, what? I love it.
All right. It's. What do you think of it, CJ? What do you think?
What
of
do
it so
I
far?
think of it?
Finished
Why don't you tell me what you think of it while I make this scene real quick, and then I'll tell you.
Why
what
don't you
I think.
fucking pay attention? Huh?
I am paying attention.
Pay attention?
Oh my god! I'm making something because David's camera fucked up.
No, don't go placing the blame elsewhere. You should have things in place to fix this. So far, the story's interesting. I've learned that my timing is way off. I'm terrible with that. The little mini games you can play are really fun. Hitting the baseball, throwing some darts, horseshoes. What else? Played a banjo and a piano. That was
Playing
fun.
that, dude. That was jam. We were jamming
That's
out.
fun.
locking a couple in their closet. That was fun.
That was
Oh,
a
yeah.
good time, dude.
We didn't choose that option.
We're going fucking
We're all
hardcore.
like crazy, man. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
like-
no, we
time.
scared the horses. It was great.
A spoiler if you haven't seen our latest stream, we robbed a gas station and we just kept shooting our guns.
Yeah.
We couldn't shoot anybody.
We were trying to shoot everybody.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let
Yeah,
us.
they wouldn't let us. So my biggest gripe about the game is like the voice acting is terrible.
Yeah.
Like 80% of the time, the voice acting is just so bad.
Well, it's not helped by the fact that the dialogue, the script is bad. Like no one talks like a human being.
Also, doesn't
Like-
help that Joseph cast his own brother as fucking Leo.
Right. Like,
He's like, "You want to be in my game, brother?"
literally, like like there's so many parts where I'm just like, that is not something a person would say.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah, I think
can't
that's
put my
like
finger on it.
hurts it the most for me. Is like I'll be into doing something or whatever, and there's be like a quick one-liner. And it's just like, nope, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Bad.
but I mean, I think it's enjoyable. Besides that,
Yeah,
we only got like 2 chapters left.
Yeah, we don't have that much left in the game. I would. What the Cheyenne Sugarhead?
I think you're like halfway.
Oh, are we really?
I think so.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
we
you
got
say,
quite a
David?
bit left.
Maybe
Yeah.
we've been taking because I read out how long the beat it was like 5 hours, and then
Yeah, if you're
it's
like,
like
rushing through-
6
Yeah.
bam, I fucking did it. That shit looked good now.
Congrats.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Anyway, oh fuck, the wrong things. Oh no, it's not. Okay, cool. But I think the game just generally like. It's not like when he was doing his speech at the Oscars or whatever. He's like, fuck the, or he was doing his speech at the Video Game Awards. He was like, fuck the
Yeah.
Oscars. I'm making art. Video games are art. And like, this is not the game to like be selling that on. Like,
No.
if you,
Yeah.
if what you guys were saying with Far Cry, which I don't know how I agree about it because I haven't played that much of Far Cry, but like where you guys are saying, I like Far Cry because it's like fun. This game is fun. Like, fucking around with Drew, making fun of fucking, what's the guy's name?
Leo's son.
Leo's son we're
Oh.
picking on his fucking son the whole time.
Yeah.
That shit's fun. Like we were like at the beginning of the game, I called this out when we were playing it. You to break out of your cell, you unhook a toilet, and I was like, so how does the toilet work? Where does the pee go? Like where did they? How do they? It
Yeah.
just comes out of the wall,
It
and then
just
there's
goes.
nothing that they can do. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, that's a
like,
good point.
doesn't
Not
make
to
any
mention-
sense. Not to mention
think-
later on, you then
Yeah.
go through a river of shit. That the shit is going somewhere.
Yeah.
So like, where, how is this happening? And it's just like,
Oh,
And
no,
also
nothing
the
beats the
big ass-
fucking rowboat scene. The rowboat scene is the biggest ass pull that game fucking does. Like, you are being chased by like a platoon
yeah.
of police officers,
And
you
you
get
just hop in this
casually
rowboat.
into
You
a
get
fucking
everybody's just chilling.
rowboat, and they just
Well,
stop chasing
well, no,
you. They could have just followed you.
Charles made a good point. It's maritime law. All right.
yeah, Mary.
Oh my god, I was so mad.
cannot
There's,
take
there's
you on
a
the
lot
water.
of things like
It's
that.
so stupid.
But yeah, that stuff is really stupid. But at the same, and if the conceit is that this game is supposed to be high art, and I'm supposed to be taking it like that's like then fuck this game. Like that shit's terrible. But at the same time, like we're doing it on stream, I'm having fun. Like
Yeah.
like talking and communicating with
honestly-
Drew
No, I
is
mean,
fun.
I think a game also has to be kind of like at least a little bit immersive or like competent in that the dialogue and the writing and just the things that are going on don't like take you out of it. Like Far Cry 5 is fun, but it's also like a well-made game.
the biggest crime that this game has is that it's fun
What's
in
that?
the same
It's
exact
Leo
way.
held up that one guy and then he got caught. That was the biggest crime so far that we've seen.
No, it's the game is fun in the way a B movie is fun, but it has none of the intention of a B movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's intending to be
The
that.
game is
Yeah.
completely straight, and it's just so like dumb that you can almost filter out the seriousness and just be like, oh, it's just silly. But that's obviously not what they were going for.
Yeah.
This, like, you can see Joseph Fares thinking like, oh, this is the biggest fucking narrative adventure in gaming right now. Like, but like, it's just so fucking bland.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bland. The only interesting thing it does is its co-op stuff, and even that at best is like interesting. But it's not like, holy fuck, this is pushing the limit of
Yeah.
what a co-op game can be.
I don't think it's
so
ever
that
pushing the limit. I think it is like in some ways.
It's handled very well.
Yeah. Like the boat scene, you're right. The cops just stop chasing you. That's real dumb. But at the same time, like
The actual
when we
rowing
were
is
doing
fun.
the boat, it was fun. Like I
It
was.
was
That's like
fun.
one of my
I
It
favorite
was
parts.
fun for you because I did it all, you bitch.
Yeah, no, I was like at the beginning.
I was
having
one
Drew
man
do
rowing
everything.
that boat.
And then fucking towards the end, Drew was just like, "Motherfucker, I need some help, man. We're
Yeah.
going down.
We're
the
going
waterfall
too
here."
fast. Yeah.
And like
I
don't know. It's just
I think that it is a good game. It's fine. It's okay, but it's not.
Let's
what
put it this
we
way.
were
It's a
promised,
75
and
on Metacritic, you know?
Yeah.
It scored so much higher than I thought it would. I was kind
no.
of baffled.
I want to point out, no, it didn't.
What?
Because you predicted it absolutely perfect to the Metacritic.
Well, no, I mean, but after I reviewed it,
I know
played the
what
game.
you
Obviously,
mean.
that's.
I knew what you meant, but
Well,
like,
it's
you're like,
a
it
lot of
scored
the
so much
reviewers-
higher. I'm like, it actually didn't.
Well, a lot of the
80?
reviewers didn't focus on like
On the writing.
and the voice acting, which I think is important because it's like a narrative. If the narrative isn't good, then like
And it's funny because like people like right here, ropey dialogue may keep this from being a must-play experience, but then they give it a fucking 8. And I'm like, is that the standard
think-
that we want to
Like,
set
no,
for
like,
games?
I feel like I haven't played Far Cry, but I feel like this is the exact same opposite in the other way you're making for Far Cry.
What do you mean?
Like, you guys are all like, Far Cry doesn't engage with politics well or do any of that, and like, it's not. But that's not what
No,
I'm
I don't have that
because
problem.
Far Cry isn't selling itself on its politics. This game is totally selling itself on its writing and narrative.
Okay.
That's the difference.
we can have this.
Far Cry, I
conversation
know what I'm
later,
getting into. This
but-
game, you could go in being like, oh, this, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a great story. It's going to be emotionally compelling, and it was none of that. And yet people
Yeah.
are still like, it's fun and it runs well, so
It
8
does-
out of
it
10.
does-
I think
It
some
is
of that
fun.
is just the issue with reviewing games in general is that like
There's
they
no
tend to be,
holistic
like-
way of looking at it.
like you giving it a 6 in terms of other people reviewing it, like a 6 is a bad game, whereas like a 6 out of 10 is like pretty good.
I
But-
think it should be pretty good, but in the games
yeah.
industry, a 6 is
Like an
irredeemable
8
dog
now
shit.
is pretty good, yeah.
No, wait,
Yeah.
I don't think. I think people just enjoy this game more than you guys do, and I'm enjoying it.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I played it once.
I
Like
think the dialogue is stupid,
had a
and
good
like
time.
it feels like these people that are supposed to be like they're not good old boys from like the 70s, but they're like they're Americans from the 70s, and like English is probably not their first language. Like it doesn't sound like from like their dialogue, like the way they pronounce words, just as like
Who, Leo?
Like,
it's
Leo-
just Leo that's like
like,
that.
but not even Leo. Vincent too is just like he sounds weird when he's talking. That
They're
like
That's
definitely in
the
America
script
though.
is bad.
that's what I'm saying. Like the voice acting is not good because of that.
Yeah.
Like, I doesn't.
Yeah.
But
We
like,
already addressed that, though.
I know, but no. But what I'm saying is, I'm still having fun. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
But mostly
That is
because the
completely
terrible
good.
voice acting prompts me to
it's
look
funny.
into other
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
It's,
Well, that's the thing is, it's just what do you value?
but it's not even
Like,
like
what is your take?
it's
on it?
not
That's
like-
fine. I think that's interesting.
And it's funny, but not in a way that like Troll 2 is so bad it's funny. I don't think
Yeah.
this game is so bad it's funny. I think this game, like, if it had leaned into the funny moments more, it would have been like excellent in like
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
what
I
it was
agree.
doing. But like it doesn't do
Yeah.
that completely, so I won't say it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I also have been still playing Ni no Kuni 2, just doing the kingdom building stuff. I want to get my kingdom to like 50 people, which
That's a good sign that you're still playing.
I'm enjoying it a bunch. Like the
I am.
That's good. I'm
quite
excited for that.
It's
part
it's
of it.
just easy enough for him. You know what I'm saying?
it's
Yeah.
not
Just
well.
easy.
It, actually, like the side quests, they're not harder or anything, but like
They're
they're
appropriately challenging.
like now that like yeah, I'm going back and like some of them are like I miss people at the first town and like I do their side quests and it's like no big
Yeah,
deal.
okay.
But like they're a lot of them. I don't know. There's this weird mix of like some of them are like annoying fetch quests, and some of them are like fun like story fetch quests.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like way too easy fight a monster, and some of them are like appropriate fight a monster. And then and aside from all of that, I still just like going to my town and like filling it out with stuff. It's still
do you-
fun.
What do you think about that, Aaron?
I don't think about that.
All right, cool.
What are you playing right now?
Wow. I stopped listening like half an hour into the way out
I know you did.
conversation. That went on for too long.
Are you?
You
are
also started playing WoW like 30 minutes ago. I watched you.
That's what he said though. He said he stopped playing 30 minutes or stopped
pretty
listening
sure I
30
did
minutes
say
ago.
Anyway,
All right, so-
Aaron, you've been playing WoW this week. I know you guys did a stream of it. all
Yep,
of you.
playing it right now. Actually, it's been a lot of fun. Doing some stuff, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about Ni no Kuni? You still playing that?
I've played like 10 more minutes of that.
Jesus
big
Christ!
I'm gonna
It's
win that
been-
fucking
Put it-
Persona
it-
bet.
I'm I'm gonna throw this out there right now.
I bet you don't actually.
I bet I do.
He's almost done with it. He's so
like it's a
close.
lot easier for me. Like
Yeah.
I honestly expected you to not play it at all, so like I'm surprised, but whatever.
all right, cool.
I'm gonna need
That's
you.
Aaron's
I'm gonna need
contribution
you.
to this segment of the show.
I'm gonna need you to at least finish
We
Ding
have,
Dong Dell and fight the Rat King.
Yeah, you at least gotta fight the cat boy.
We have been streaming WoW. That's been fun. I'm excited
has
to do
been
more of that. It's been quite comfy. I think that's a good low-key stream to just put on and just have fun. And it's cool to play a new class. I think probably what I'm gonna do is get one of the new races and play that up to max level. Whether we do that on stream or not, I don't know, but I think it is going well, and I want to keep doing that for sure. So look out for that.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. Anything you guys are expecting to play this week?
Expecting what
Anything
this
we're
week? you said?
expecting?
Yeah, are you expecting to play anything this week?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
the
well, I'm
Adventure
gonna
Pals.
dip into Nino Kuni. Yeah, the Adventure Pals. If that reviews well, I'll definitely pick that up. I'm gonna wait and see what people
Anything
think. 'cause
else?
it-
I'm
Minute.
what's up, Minute? I'm
Minute.
I'm playing through Far Cry 5. I'm gonna dive.
Let me know if you want to take out some outposts.
And I might hit you guys up. We might do a stream of it or something.
That'd be
No.
fun.
Okay.
I will also be playing Synthetic. It's super fun. Let me know if you guys ever want to play a action game with me on PC. I won't hold my
Action
breath.
games?
No, nobody
like
likes
Action
playing
games
with you.
or
It's an action twin stick. CJ, you'd like if it was on PS4.
Probably would. Games are better on console.
All right, that's fine.
That's just like my feelings
I don't
about
even-
games generally.
I don't really disagree, but yeah.
That is it for our show this week. This has been the Current Game Podcast, episode 47. My name is Charles. It is Cheyenne. I looked it
Is
up.
it?
I
Okay.
looked it up before we
Thank you,
started.
'cause
At least I wrote it
think-
down. At least I wrote
Okay.
it down.
Okay.
47. It could have
I
been
believe
wrong.
you.
What it says at the end of my notes here. That's episode 47.
Cool.
And the last episode. I'm vamping so I can look up what the last one was.
I was also gonna look.
The
it up.
last one was
48?
46, so I nailed it. This is episode 46.
Good job.
47?
I'm proud.
My name is Charles Wade. You can find me on Twitter at Charles Tula. Aaron, where can people find you and WoW?
You can't. You can find me on Twitter at Aaron M Weeks.
You got a guild in WoW? WoW?
Nope.
Row?
Wow, wow.
Cheyenne, where can everybody find you?
I am Poop Flowers on Twitter.
Cool. What about you, Drew?
I am Trophy Pops on Twitter and Florshame88 on the PSN
Why you sound like an Irishman?
Yeah.
because those are German shoes. Get with the times,
You
okay?
sounded Irish.
Get with the times. German Irish.
Why do
Give
you
us
sound
time,
Irish?
dude.
Because those are German shoes.
I
Fair
know.
enough.
I'm aware that it made no sense. Carry on.
Drew or David, where can we find you?
My guy Dave on Twitter.
Cool. And you can find the channel at currentgaming_. And that's episode 47. And peace.